right now. Like, however this is, this sounds great.
I'm starting over again just because.
Oh, that was some good banter right there.
I know, but
there's no start overs in life. It just goes on and on and on and on. What was the joke that Gary Shandling had? Life is short, just not short enough.
Is that
Gary Shandling? He's like, the comedian, very much of like self-deprecating comic. Larry Sanders Show, HBO.
No, I don't know.
Oh man, amazing! You want to watch
Larry's.
So the original that really sparked HBO and put them on the map with their original content and like why Larry David has like his show Curb Your Enthusiasm. Larry Sanders Show was first out of the gate from early 90s. So revolutionary, single camera comedy before anyone was doing it in the early 90s.
Really?
Wow. Oh yeah, Gary Shandling, man, the man.
Hold on, single camera
comedy. Because up until, no one did at that time, but remember how like The Office came out? That's single camera comedy. Before that, it was all like multicam comedy, much like Seinfeld or Friends.
Right.
That's like multi-camera comedy. And then that came as
single camera comedy is like moving the shot, zooming in, like moving it. But there is multiple cameras.
There is multiple cameras, but like they call it multicam comedy, sitcom, situational comedy, is because they would have like their traditional 3 cameras in a living room setting or friend setting in like designated areas. And it's those 3 angles that they're cutting to. The writing's very calculated. There's a joke every third line. Single camera comedy is much like, just feels like it's like docu-style, you know what I mean? Like The Office, Parks and Rec. You know what I mean? These are very technical terms. This is how the industry gets watered down quickly. It used to just be cool when Gary Shandling did it. And now it's just single camera. And then they put a name on it.
This is Roy talking.
Yes.
Roy Tighe,
yeah.
Thailand Productions.
That's correct.
Is his YouTube, and I've been friends with Roy for a while, and I just remember
over 5 years now.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's a director, he's a writer, he's a really funny guy. He's been on YouTube. You've been at it, so you get it. I remember when I first met you, you were showing me your YouTube shorts and stuff, and I heard him share at a meeting, and it was just
me crying.
Yeah, I want to say it was pretty emotional.
Absolutely. So I met you and your crew when I was like brand new sober, right? So I stumbled into Men's Prime Time Monday night, and I liked the fact that, Billy, you were there. I liked the fact that it was guys not sharing a drunkalogue. It was because when I first got sober, I didn't want to hear that because I didn't relate. So when I got into primetime, they're all talking about the day that you're in, and that's exactly what I wanted to hear and what I was struggling with. So they were all no drunkalogues, just guys talking about the day they're in, talking about God, and I'm like, this sounds like this is solution to me at the time, right? Like, so I immediately related, and I was scared to share, and that's what told me that I needed to start sharing at that meeting. So it's like,
so you had already been a couple times?
No, I first time I went to that meeting, I'd never shared at a men's meeting before. I was like, honestly, like this is my first week of sobriety, a couple weeks of sobriety, maybe.
Yeah.
So I was going to meetings, but I would go to a men's meetings and be scared to speak at them because I was intimidated by the men.
Yeah.
When I walked into that meeting, I challenged myself to be like, you got to share here. So I went up and shared and like whatever, probably cried like I did for like the first 60 days. And then I met you because I was crying about a commercial I was doing and how everything was like just taking off in my life because I landed that contract with Alcatel out of nowhere by making a commercial by myself and just submitting it to the company, and it went viral at the company, and then they asked me to do all these commercials, and my company blew up when I'm like 60 days sober, which is obviously a lot to handle whether you're sober or not. And then you came to me. It's turning into a long story, but it's important.
It's fine. This is great.
So I remember the time, and I want to acknowledge this. So I shared, and it was a couple times I shared, and you finally came up to me, and your hair was like all like pink and like wild colors, and just like you're fucking pot, right? And so I'm like, oh, this guy's wild. But you came up to me with so much love, and you were like, so like what's the fucking deal with you? Like, you make like, what do? You make videos or something? Because I make videos too. And I was like, yeah, like I just landed this contract with this company, and I'm like doing it all myself. And like figuring out, like, oh, that's cool. And I was showing you stuff, and I was showing you my skits on YouTube, and you thought you were funny. However, like, but you embraced me, and Gus, you were there, Jesse was there, Troy was there, and you guys brought me in with so much love. And just like, I looked forward to that meeting for the first year of my sobriety. Every Monday night, I was like, I'm going to see Pat, I'm going to see Gus, I'm going to see everyone. We're going to hang out, the love whistle, and then we'd go to movies after. And Mike was there.
Oh, wow. The movie nights.
Yeah, we would
Remember
go
those?
to the movie nights, and it was just like, I literally got me through my first year of sobriety.
How many years ago was that? How many years ago was that?
Yeah.
So I'll have 6 years in October on my birthday.
Was Randy still leading it, or was it?
No, it was when I first started going, Frank just made a return to try and get the meeting back on track.
Yeah, okay.
Whoopsies.
And then he threw the big book across the room.
So, but hold on. Let me just say.
Can I smoke it?
Yeah. Well, let's get an ashtray.
All right.
So there's an ashtray. Alex, will you grab that ashtray? It's like a.
Thanks, Alex.
When you share. Alex, thank you so much.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for setting this
He
up.
just did a cool little post. Alex is back there. Alex has been.
He's on it, that kid.
I just really would love for him to kind of be like our Jamie. You know how?
You know what's funny is I was thinking that when I was talking to him before we got going. I was like, he's like a Jamie.
Yeah.
You got a good setup here, dude. Everyone comes and chills out. It's
Yeah.
like a whole vibe happening.
Tonight was a good one. Tonight was kind of like the best by far that it's ever been. We had the most people at the meeting. We had like 60 people inside the live stream at one point. But what I was gonna say here, this is for what I was gonna say, Roy, was I don't know. There's something about like when someone shares. I don't know. You can just tell. You can just like. I just identified with what you were saying, and like more importantly, how you were saying it. Like when I heard Billy share, like there's a certain people are just honest, and certain people are just on some bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, hey, do you remember that kid? There's this kid, bless his heart, but he would always Shakeith.
Yeah, Shaquille.
Okay, like.
Remember him?
I love you, bro.
Oh,
he's
my
probably
God.
not gonna listen, but like that's the kind of guy that like he's just trying to like impress the room.
Gossip is murder.
Whatever, dude.
No,
I'm just saying.
No. Well, here's how I always took it. Right? People parrot. Right? And
Right.
it's like, did I parrot? Absolutely, I had to parrot.
I don't know though.
To get open it up. I don't know. I don't know. I
What
never
do you
will
mean,
know.
pair? What does that mean?
Like, what? Like for sure throughout my sobriety, I hung on the back of one man in particular, and hear the things he would say, and I would share like him.
Did you say parrot?
Parrot.
Oh, okay.
Just like say it
Like a parrot on a
Yeah.
captain's.
repeating.
Like I'm not finding my
things.
own voice. I'm just taking someone else's what I like
Just
and
repeating things,
reverbing it in my own, like for myself, making it sound like I said it or something. Which arguably maybe we all are just saying the same thing over and over. Like how many times?
No, but
said the
you
word.
say it like in your way.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of years.
But the difference is that you're talking about something. I always like when people talk about stuff that's specific. Like I don't want to hear
the generalness.
I don't really get a lot. I get more out of like what you mentioned directing. You mentioned like you were talking about real things happening in your life and how you were applying this program. And plus, you just were being honest and you were a director. I thought you were like.
Oh man, that fight, to be honest, that's a killer, dude. That's the one thing I remember this man said to me. He goes, if you can find one person in this world and be completely honest, you might get this thing. And I was like, all right. And I just fought to be as completely honest with him as possible. And then it taught me to be honest in my life. And not like I'm saying anything profound. It's
But
just
what
that
you
I'm
have to
being honest.
clarify here is self-honesty. It's not like I'm lying. It's like you're being self-honest, which is a task in itself because we don't even know the truth.
Exactly.
So,
And that's the thing is you have to believe it, right? When people tell you something, they're like, that's the truth. Well, says you, but I also have the choice of believing it or not.
right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, for me, I guess, that's why I say it's a fight to be honest as I can be. I'll be as honest as I can be, which I could be mistaken in that.
Yeah.
And someone could go, hey man, like, you know, and I'd be like, oh, you're right. I missed that.
But to share that way also requires life experience.
Yeah.
Because you can't get
Well,
up there and because life experience gives you
Yeah.
a certain confidence that is different from
See,
humility and honesty. Does that make sense? Like if I don't have any confidence and I'm super insecure and worried about how I'm going to look,
Yeah.
I'm just going to be on some bullshit.
Exactly, yeah.
But if I'm like, I'm good, fuck it, I'm going to get honest.
Yeah.
That's when I can just be honest.
because you're
and,
willing to be exposed.
Yeah.
It's the true
And
form of
I
nakedness.
only think that like you had been through some shit. You made a fucking whole film. That's another thing outside. He showed me Where's Barry. Like you showed me the trailer.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, all right, we're good. Like you're my boy. I fuck with you. I get what you're doing. He used the Kaya na
Yeah.
Squatsi. You used that song, which is from this fucking amazing film, Godfrey Reggio.
You know what? I can't take credit. Graham is the one who did that.
Well, I know all
But
that shit.
Yeah, that's what I say. That's what I love about you is like when I played that trailer, I had no idea where that came from.
Guyana
And Graham
Squatsi.
is the one who put it in there, and you were like, "Oh, I know this." You knew exactly
just-
what was up, and I was like, "Damn, this is great."
The trailer like felt like a fucking Coen Brothers film. Like he made it, shot it all on a 7D and like
T3, T2I,
bro. It's literally like the shittiest camera ever. But he made a whole movie. I mean, it was a short film,
Yeah, so I
but
made.
you finished something.
Well, yeah, I originally shot it we were doing it as a web series. And then when I brought it into the editing room, through my process of getting sober, I met Bud Smith, who's, very profound editor.
So when I had met you, you didn't even.
No, I already knew Bud.
But like you weren't like recutting Where's Barry. No.
No, I don't know
you
if I
were
was
like
still working on it yet or not. I don't know if it was quite. Sorry,
you
I don't know if it was
hadn't
on-
dove back. You had, or wait, had you not put it on YouTube yet?
No, I didn't. I just had.
So
a
where
private
was it?
Vimeo link that I was sharing with you guys. A Vimeo link, a private link.
Oh, you still hadn't even put it out.
No.
Jeez, man, making movies is the hardest thing in the world to do.
Can I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Yeah, it's gonna be hard to get a word in.
I just want to know, did it was intentional to shoot it on a shitty camera? Was that
No, that's just what we had.
That's all you had?
No, I
Yeah.
mean this guy was coming up in Canada. We're both small. I mean,
Yeah, just Graham's.
Yeah,
the one-
but,
Graham
bro.
had a T3i, so it's DSLR came out. It was out for a while at the time. So I guess a little film history is like you had film, and then things went to digital, and it started as like standard def, and then it moved into high def, and I had like a little, HDV camera that was a good camera, but then quickly it transitioned to DSLR, which gave it more of a film.
How old are
because
you?
could do. I'm 82, same as you, 37. So
Wow.
so then it went to digital, which DSLR gave you the ability digitally to shoot 23.98, which looks more like film opposed to before it was 29.97. So we shot Where's Barry on that, and that camera was affordable for us. I think it was like $800, but that's a lot of money for us, like back in the day. So that's Graham luckily had that camera, so I was like, yeah, let's just do it on that, But yeah, it was originally 7. The first cut I showed Bud was, I think, 80 minutes, and then Bud just like hacked it down. I sat with him for 2 full days in his studio.
wow.
He invited me to his studio. We sat there. I just milked the notes, wrote pages of notes. We went out for lunch, got tacos. He asked me about my career and what I was doing, and then we went out again. And I went back the next day and worked, and then he took me out for lunch again, and we were sitting. I remember that exact moment. We were at the taco stand that I still go to, and we got left the studio to go to lunch, and he goes, "So what's your deal? Like, what are you doing? You're just gonna work?" And I was working in a computer shop at the time, like 32 years old, whatever, making $10 an hour. And he goes, "Do you just want to work at a computer shop forever, or what's going on?" And I said, I'll work here for the rest of my life if it affords me to make movies. And he goes, he literally slid a key across the table, and he said, "I want to help you with your career." And then that was it. I was just like, boom, in there every day. And he opened the door, like literally opened the door to my career.
And this guy, just so you know, this guy Bud edited The Exorcist.
And Flashdance. He's nominated twice for an Oscar.
And he's an editor, and he had a facility in the Valley.
Yeah.
With editing equipment.
Yeah, everything I needed.
And
He just said, "You can come in here." And he gave me the
and
closet.
you're still working with him.
Yeah, I still work with him.
So how did you meet him? How did that happen?
I was working at the computer shop, and he came in one day.
Oh.
And I fixed his email.
Wow.
which I still do to this day. It's hilarious. But I fixed his email, and I just started talking about editing and how I was working on Where's Barry. I was editing it from my house. And I was talking all this editing knowledge because I'm a studio junkie. I've been editing since I was 18, so that's what I love to do most. So
yeah, I sent you something.
yeah.
Wait, I want you to
suicide.
finish this because it's interesting how people get these hookups that changes everything. I hear it like we talk about it often.
Yeah.
Like some person you don't know and you just hook up and then your life changes from then on because they know they have the resources.
Changed my life forever. So I was talking editing and then he's like talking to me about editing, and I didn't know anything about him, but I'm like talking like all this stuff, right? And then he leaves, and I like.
So you didn't know who he was or anything?
No. I just IMDb'd him, and I was like, what? Like Karate Kid, like just like all these movies.
The original Karate Kid.
Yeah. Like all these movies, and I'm like,
so he's an older dude.
yeah. Bud came up with William Friedkin and Robert Downey Sr. He cut Putney Swope, which is the original, like OG cult classic dark comedy. Putney Swope, if you haven't seen it, Paul Thomas Anderson's favorite movie.
Wait, I haven't seen that.
It's unbelievable. It's the 60s movies. It literally, like, you couldn't get VHS, so they made it in New York on no money. Bud cut it, and it went. Everyone in New York went to go see it in these little theaters.
Who directed it?
Robert Downey Sr.
Ooh, Robert Downey Jr.'s
wrote and directed it.
dad.
Yeah, so he wrote and directed
Putney Swope.
it. You got to see it. It's like cult classic.
What's Putney Swope?
It's making fun of the ad industry about how they just ruin art.
But is that
Damn.
is Putney like that's just the name of the?
I actually don't know the name, but it's the iconic poster of like the middle finger, but it's a hot girl dancing as the middle finger.
Wow.
Yeah. So Bud cut that. So anyways, I talked with Bud, and then he,
By the way, William Friedkin is like
the man.
That's the movie we were watching the other day.
What, Sorcerer?
With Cruisin'.
Oh, Bud cut Cruising.
Okay, remember that movie we were watching
Which one?
with the gay cop with
Al Pacino,
playing-
undercover.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it just looks amazing. Well, William Friedkin
Is the man.
but does Bud do color?
Well, like he's from the film day. So he's just cutting, and then it goes off to a lab
Right.
Technicolor, right? So
So it's hard to pinpoint. I've never really like.
back in the day, it's all about in-camera capture.
Yeah.
You know,
I've never like thought, oh, great editing.
well,
But
I mean,
if you don't-
editing is like they say it's the hidden art.
if you don't notice
it's
it,
storytelling.
If you don't notice it, it's good.
Yeah. Well, the thing is with editing, it's you're a writer.
Uh-huh.
You're working with the material that's been given to you by all the other artists.
Wow.
And it's like it's the hidden art, man. The editing is the greatest thing in the entire planet.
It's the most important thing.
Absolutely. You can have the best acting, the best camera shots, and if you don't know rhythm, pace, flow, your movie's garbage.
Yeah.
No one will watch it. It's all about editing, man.
It's all about editing.
Yeah.
So is he?
Well, so hold on. Does William Friedkin sit in with him?
I only met him once. Well, obviously back in the day, like Bud. When I met Bud, he was like retired. Like
Yeah,
his-
but I'm just wondering, like, do really good editors like take a shot at the fucking film before the director like sits and
yeah, absolutely. An assembly edit. it's called.
Wow, that's dope.
So,
So they
like-
get to do their own.
Well,
Like,
Bud-
you know what? I want to put this first.
Yeah,
And
so-
then that. And then, like,
Yeah,
I
he-
like this take. They're
Well-
picking the take.
Well, okay, so you know, what's the movie with John Travolta and Joaquin Phoenix, the firefighters?
Precinct 13. District 13.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
13.
Ladder 49.
Yeah.
Or Ladder 49.
Is that what it is? I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
So he
Backdraft.
Bud's the one that put that movie was originally written with the opening scene was supposed to be the end of the movie, and he was like, no, this is all wrong. You start your movie like this.
Whoa.
And that's what he did with my doc. The way my doc opens up, it's all Bud.
Wow.
Well, I've been in his house one day. He goes, Roy, you know what's wrong with your documentary? I said, what? And he goes, you're starting it wrong. It needs to start at this part. And I was like, oh, shit.
Can you tell us what part that is?
It's Richard. Me and Richard just got kicked out of the stand-up club. First day of filming. And he does a poetry slam because Richard's not just a comic. He's an artist. And he does poetry slams. And I have this uncut clip. It's like 4 minutes of him doing his poetry slam about not paying this debt to a collector and why, to a debt collector. Mm-hmm. And he And Bud says that's how you should start it. So it's just a raw take of Richard. So I start the movie like that, and then we go into like a montage. And then the movie ends with Richard as a new guy, the new man, on stage doing another monologue of where he's at today. So it's a full bookend. But Bud nailed it, how my doc should start. He was correct. With
like the most, like, so that like it starts with like the best.
Well, he said that we got to start it.
So you can see his talent.
Yes. And he goes, unfeathered, right? So it's like when he goes, when I started Flashdance, he's like, I just needed the shots of the girl riding the bike. So we don't have to know the character yet. We don't have to tell everything. You know, like people want to tell their movies right now. But it's like, no, you need to allow, it's like a meal, like Italian meal, right? Like you have this and then you have this and you have this, you eat it and you eventually digest the movie as it's coming across, right? So you want your information to always be digestible as the audience is taking it in. So Richard wasn't drunk because most rest of the movie, like the next 40 minutes is just wall to wall talking Richard drunk, hitting rock bottom, right? Running himself into the ground until he has nothing and he's in a homeless shelter. So that's the very depressing, right?
Yeah.
So at the beginning, we wanted a neutral. He said, you need a neutral stance on Richard, so we don't know exactly how to take him, but we see his talent, and then you get to form your opinion later.
So Richard is a comedian from Canada,
yes,
who was like popping, and then
no, he never really became mainstream.
But he was like a credible, cool.
He's
respected.
He's like an underground comic, like an underground artist. Like who would be like an underground artist that you love that not everyone would know?
Well, I don't know how big.
Not even big, like you,
but like Canada knew
like
him?
Local legend.
Really?
Like, you know what I mean? Like, so Vancouver, anytime you went into a club in Vancouver, Richard's on stage.
Okay. Well, that's different.
And he's the guy that's like shredding the audience and never had a sitcom, never made it to the States, never nothing, just grinded it out, touring across Canada.
But everybody in Vancouver and Canada like knew who he was. In the scene. But like, that's still, that's something. That's enough to make a documentary.
That's what I loved about it.
Right.
I was like, I don't want, it's not about him being famous. It's just this guy hit rock bottom in his life. He just happens to be a comedian.
And he's good.
Deadly good.
He's dead. That's what makes it. So
Savage.
Roy did a documentary about this guy. He spent 10 years doing this documentary.
Yeah.
That's how long it took? Or that's
10,
how long? Wow.
10 years, yeah. 11 years to finally get the release.
So was this guy just a friend of yours?
Well, no. So I did stand-up when I was 18. And I just quickly learned that it wasn't really my form of expressing myself.
Roy is like
bad.
really funny though. Roy,
but not on the level of like a stand-up. Stand-ups are well-crafted oil writing machines, right?
Yeah, it's a different thing.
I want to be behind a camera. I want to tell my stories that way.
Yeah.
So I knew right away I'm not gonna fucking be a comedian. But the first time I ever did stand-up, Richard was headlining that night at Yuck Yucks. I did a 5-minute open mic set at an amateur night. I go backstage and Richard's there laughing. And he goes, "Good set, kid." And I was like, "Oh man, like fucking Richard fucking liked what I say." So I was like, "Oh, that's cool." But I never talked to him for years. But anytime you go around, like Richard's there doing stand up, fucking blasting a heckler, just killing the set, And so I it wasn't until years later I started writing and producing my own. I took out a loan, bought my own camera gear, bought my own mics, bought everything I needed to produce a web series called The Backshop Show. There's a story in my head that I wanted to tell, so I just bought what I needed to tell the story. I wrote a character that I wanted Richard to play. So I reached out to a mutual friend, Danny Mendelow, and said, hey, he was a stand-up comic at the time, my age. I said, hey, I have this role that I'd like Richard to play. Do you think he'd be into it, or is he just kind of like not into that?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, is he going to be like, who's this weird young kid? Like, get away from me. And he was like, no, he'd love it. And then we'd never connected. A few months later, Danny connected on Facebook saying, hey, Roy, Richard's looking for someone to shoot a one-man show, and I'm recommending you. Do you guys want to meet up for a meeting? The first meeting Richard didn't show up for because he's like that. And then the second meeting he met me, and he wanted me to shoot his one-man show called Never Be Done. And instead I said, okay, I said, well, let's start filming it now because we wanted to shoot all this cool like BTS for it. And then that's how I wasn't planning on making a documentary. I was just hanging out.
You have to tell me what BTS is.
Behind the scenes.
Oh, okay.
So I was just shooting stuff, and then we went out that night to the club, and he got booted from the club for being so vulgar or got into an argument with the club owner. And then that's when I recorded the intro to the documentary. And then from that day on, it just was me hanging out with him, shooting stuff. But then quickly,
Did
he
you
started
get any of
getting out
like
of
the
control.
argument with him and the guy?
No, I was like deadly scared because I walked in with
But
the
if
camera.
you would have got that,
Oh man, I mean, yes, that would have been great, but it just would have been an interesting way to start it, I guess. Making a movie is like, you get what you get, and then you hope you got it.
yeah.
Yeah, you can't get everything, right? You
Yeah.
just-
And so, like, for me, when I walked in with my camera, the club owner was like, "What are you doing here? Who are you filming for?" And I was like, Richard asked me to be here. And he's like, "You can't." He started yelling at me. So I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." So I sat down in the corner with my
Isn't
camera.
that fucking so lame?
It's crazy. And then Richard came in and they just
why?
collided.
Like, why?
Because they have their own camera and you got to approve it with the manager.
Oh,
I don't
they
know.
have
It's
their
like,
own.
it was just a bit of an ego battle. Just Richard had.
But I remember like the same thing was like the Roxy was like that, and like all the places we used to perform at. It's like if you wanted to film the show,
you got to get Claire.
you had to like
clearance.
You got to pay a location fee.
It's like
you
it's
gotta,
like oh well, now watch me film the show.
Yeah, exactly. You're right.
It's just like weird how you can just see things. You can see the future, and then you see all the people that are still
Talking about the
stuck
thing
in
from
the
yesterday.
past.
Yeah. So
Like I see something happening right now with this anonymity thing
Yeah.
with AA.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, you did it, dude. You have like 285,000 followers. Like, this is incredible. You did it.
No, but I'm saying
I don't know anyone who's done
I'm
it.
sorry. What are you saying, Billy? Can we what?
Can I ask a couple questions like I usually do just to get to know Roy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
Would that be all right, Roy?
Absolutely. Ask
So
away.
you're from Canada? Where?
So I'm originally born in Fort Francis, Ontario. It's a small town by Thunder Bay, Winnipeg.
Okay, and like real small. What do you mean by small town? Not suburbs or anything like that?
6,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is small. That's like
Yeah.
less than my high school.
Yeah, it's like middle of like northwestern Ontario, Canada, like woods.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so when did you get this dream of being an artist or a photographer or a producer? Is that what you would call yourself?
I call myself a director.
Director.
Yeah,
Director.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, when did that? Were you young when you got that idea?
Well, it all started with when I was a kid, like 5 or like 8, 9. I wanted to do puppet shows, so I just put on puppet shows for the neighborhood. But I liked the whole idea of like building the set, getting the puppets, naming the puppets, writing the script. Like I liked the whole thing.
Interesting. And so do you?
Then I started writing after that.
Do you come from like a wealthy family, a poor family, a middle of the road family?
Yeah, it's definitely say wealthy family. My parents, they're separated. They divorced when I was in grade 1. My dad is a customs officer. My mom was worked for the school system. So they both had government jobs that were pretty steady Eddie. But
upper middle class.
I wouldn't say upper middle class because my mom didn't make a ton of money to support. However, I wasn't like I had a decent home and
Middle of the road.
yeah, middle of the road, good parents.
And what kind of kid were you? Were you shy, awkward, outgoing, weird, cool, jock?
I think I guess how I am now. I mean, whatever you'd label me now, I feel like that's how I've always been. Is like I've always been into sports and loved being around people and always had lots of friends and.
Oh, so you were like a social,
outgoing.
well-rounded kind of kid. How'd you become an alcoholic or a drug addict or whatever it is that you are?
I think it,
Does it run in the family?
yeah, I think to a degree. I think really what it is that I don't even know if I would even say a alcoholic addict. I've always said that I just say that because it only costs me $1 to fucking get shit off my chest. It's like fucking sure. Is that what we're calling ourselves? Sure, alcoholic. That's why I always just go like. That's why I always just go like, no, man, I'm just a self-absorbed person who's sad.
You can drink and use drugs safely?
No. That's why I'm saying it does get technical. Like,
Oh.
obviously that was abused later in my life. Right.
What was it? Alcohol, drugs?
Yes. Alcohol was always that thing that I believe created a character that avoided who I am today because I was scared of being who I am today. So it was like wanting to be cool, wanting to fit in. So of course I had to drink and follow the crowd in that regard. Mm-hmm. And then I love taking psychedelics like magic mushrooms.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. That was just it for me. Like just endless amount of mushrooms.
How much time do you have?
Did you pick them?
Pardon me?
How much time do you have?
Right now? Like sober time? Mm-hmm. So I'm 5.5 years. So I'll have 6 years October 27th of this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, you can go back.
I just don't know. Like, if I was listening to a podcast, right, and there was this guest who I'd never heard of before, right, I don't know that I would necessarily care where they were born. Like, whenever I'm watching a documentary on, like, Eric Clapton, you know the part where it's, like, his whole childhood? Like, I don't care about that.
I know.
It's just like, I don't care who your parents were, where you're from. Like, I just want to know what's, like, when did you get... I want to know the shit, and that's like Eric Clapton.
But to what I get,
You know
why
what I mean?
Billy was,
Like-
why here, this is why I appreciate the question Billy asked, is because it means something to me, because I'm from there. But also, like, when I would hear that people are from like small towns, I'm like, oh, so like you don't have to be from a city, because that was my perception.
I'll tell you why I asked the question, because now you're making dough. You just pulled up in the bitchin' car and you were talking about how you were working in a computer shop and, not make $10 an hour.
Yeah.
And you ran into a dude in Los Angeles and you had a talent and a passion and he saw that. And
What car?
And tears come to your eyes when you talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to say where you came from and who you are, because it to
Means
me,
something.
it's interesting. I guess to a lot of people it's not.
Well,
but
no, all
that
that's-
means any sack of shit anywhere might be able to become something,
Exactly.
right?
Well, all that stuff is interesting, but where he's from and who his parents were,
I'm
like,
not calling you a sack of shit. You know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, anyone can make it out of anywhere. It doesn't matter what denomination. Or
okay,
race.
but like, so are you saying that if you're born in LA or like Chicago or New York, you have like it's easier to make it?
No, not at all.
But I'm just wondering if Billy's saying that.
No, I'm not saying that, but
So why does where he was born matter?
well,
All the other stuff.
yeah,
does
it
matter.
is. It is a little. It does make a difference. If you're born in some small obscure town, you may never make it out of that town.
right.
In LA, you could just bump in. I bump into movie stars here and there.
Yeah, but
I mean, it just
doesn't-
happens. Not that they're going to jive with me or anything, but
Well,
it's
it
just
happened for me.
interesting to know.
I would
a
have never
character-
met Bud Smith in Fort Francis.
Even with the fucking movies, I want to know who the fucking character is before they start doing whatever it is they do. Because otherwise, I don't really give a shit. Like I want to know. I want to know who I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a character building thing. I don't know. I mean,
No, that's good. I personally don't. But
This
that's
is why I love Pat.
But that's why this is a great dynamic, because I wouldn't. Like, I just want to get into the fucking shit.
Well, what do you want? Now ask your question. Like he asked his question. What
well,
would you want to
he's
ask?
gonna.
What would be a
you
Pat
guys
question?
are gonna jive like
Yeah.
Well, I always feel like with Pat, from the moment I met you, Pat, I was like, oh, this is just a lifelong artist buddy that I'll just, no matter where I go, what I do, what happens, it's like, talk to him tomorrow, bam, same thing, we're on the same level.
Yeah.
Like-
well, I mean, look, I just think that,
Harold, can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
All right, hey Gus.
Yeah.
What do you think? Does it matter that at all?
That's the question.
'Cause
That's
does it
classic.
matter at all?
No, I kind of see both points. Like, I think it's cool that he came from a small town where like nothing probably fucking happens ever, to like, hey man, I got to put my money together and buy a camera and like go to LA and figure this out. Like, there's like an integrity there. There's like, you know what I mean? But I see what Pat's saying too. It's like, it doesn't matter how you got there. Everybody's story is different, but how you know that you're there and what's going on.
but also it has to do with like the alcoholism thing. I think that's important because we're talking about like a character, and if there was some trauma in his childhood, like that's also important.
It was interesting because he didn't. He came from. He's a pretty rounded guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't a weirdo or anything, and he came from a decent family, and so that's interesting to me.
So I think that like,
I didn't come from a perfect family.
No, of course not.
And not, that's not a shot towards my family. I mean,
But-
like, no family's perfect. However, like, we had our,
was
we had
pretty
our ups and
normal.
downs.
Yeah, it was
we had
pretty-
our ups and
but
downs.
I think what makes it important on this podcast is because he's an alcoholic, and there are other people in recovery that may or may not be able to identify with his thing. But if it's like, sometimes I just think about like what I'm interested in.
This is
but
how
maybe I'm just a little bit harder to entertain. Like I don't want to know. Like even when Mark Maron is interviewing like Jeff Bridges, like as soon as they start talking about like his childhood, it's like I'm like checking out.
It's so funny because when you guys start talking about your shit, I check out.
Right.
You know, it's funny,
I'm just
Billy.
like, whatever. Who cares?
Wow.
Hey, Billy. No, I actually see.
I
That's
mean,
one of my favorite parts in interviews. I love to know, like, I wanted to know Stanley Kubrick's dad was a doctor.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to know he was from. Like, that's me though. I'm the same way. I like to know that stuff. But hey, everyone, like I said, digests information differently.
I think that's why it's a good dynamic because he's going to get into all the stuff, and
I think it was a good question, Billy. I think it was good. I liked it. Because it started with the filming and the what's going on, and then he brought you back to your childhood. So it's like the editing. It was a good edit.
Yeah, it's honestly it brings it more for me. It's like I say, I appreciate the question because it's adds an intimacy for me. I appreciate it because people want to get intimacy.
People don't care about DSLR and Video One and what the fuck high definition.
It's a very
most don't. Most don't. Most don't even know what the difference is. Right?
Can you? You're peeking.
Oh, because I don't have you. I don't have anything in my phone.
You know.
I don't. There's nothing in my ears.
Okay. So I don't want to talk about DSLRs either.
Yeah,
I do. I'm like a total nerd when it comes to that. But yes, I appreciate it not being the subject of the conversation.
Cool. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay, something's wrong here with this setup.
Who set it up?
Do they screw tight to this?
I can't hear myself either. That's why I'm like yelling.
They're attached to the
I don't hear you
sound
yelling.
part.
You
don't?
No, you sound normal.
No, but it's because this is what you gotta. Just everyone, be careful how close you get to the mic.
Yeah,
you don't want to be touching the mic because you were just touching the mic and it was just peaking.
I wasn't touching it.
Okay, so check it out.
I mean, Pat, you know my past, bro. I work at a recording studio for 6 years recording people.
It's definitely peaking.
Yeah. Well, learn how to give a little monitor.
Yeah. No, we do need to get like a preamp, or no, we need to get like a limiter, like a nice Avalon limiter that will help.
Or just like a little mixing thing where you can send the signal out to people's ears, and you know.
Mm-hmm. See, this is where you're
I have one. I
can
can actually bring you one. I think I do have one, like a little mixer to like.
So you're saying you can't hear yourself?
Barely.
Okay. Well, let me see.
I mean, your voice is different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's really, really quiet.
Yeah.
Isn't there like a volume on the headphone jack?
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Okay, because I do have.
I know what I'm doing, and there's 3 headphones going to 1.
All right, I have an opportunity to calm you down and to be of service, Pat.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Pat, here it is. Ready?
Yeah.
Give me a cigarette.
Okay, so Alex, do you know? Is there another splitter we need another headphone splitter, because what it is all 3 of those are going into one, and mine's going into the other. So I want to put, if there's another one, then I can turn mine down. But yeah, you're a funny guy.
Thank you. So are you.
Oh, that's good.
Dude, I remember, like, obviously I got to know Roy through Primetime, but we had never, like, really hung out until we were at Pat's studio on West Bend, and you did that, like, Guns N' Roses skit. Do you remember doing that?
Oh, yeah.
With the cash?
Yeah, with the cash. You're like fucking Guns N' Roses.
Oh, when I was talking about
Now
the
it's
best
too
album
loud.
is
Yeah.
Use Your Illusions 2.
No, you're like, dude, you're not a band if you have a saxophone player.
Yeah. I was like, Pat, it's not a band.
Yeah.
You have a fucking
There.
turntable.
Oh,
it's
wow,
not a
that's
band.
much
There it
better.
is. Oh, you fixed
Yeah.
it. There it is.
How are you?
I sound great.
Okay, it's
I'm
a tricky.
fucking loud.
If you got a sax player in your band, you're not a band.
Cigarette?
Yeah. That's not a band.
Yeah. Pat's band.
Okay, so you can watch these videos on YouTube.
Sweet.
Under the Ridge.
Man, this is so fun, this podcast, because all the other podcasts I've been doing to promote the movie have all been through Zoom. They're fun, but this is the first one in person. It's great.
Right.
No masks.
Well, I mean, but
Oh,
also,
right, yeah.
I did Aaron Berg's podcast, by the way. Hilarious comedian out of New York. I did his podcast. So good. Aaron Berg's the man.
but so we were talking about filming. Yeah, how do you feel about like filming? I've been kind of on this new trip recently about like, there's all these people like going into like government run like facilities, like which are pretty much owned by the people, right? And under our First Amendment right, we can film anything we want.
Oh, freedom of press and radio?
Yeah. So they go into the DMV and they're just filming everything. And then you start to see people like they start tripping out.
Yeah,
stop
you showed
filming.
me that, yeah.
Stop filming.
You're not
No.
allowed to film in here.
And he just goes, "No, I'm allowed to film in here."
Well, in a private business, I think you.
Well, these are all. Well, I don't think you should be. I think you should be able to film everywhere all the time.
Unless it's a private business.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, but if you can't.
I'm just saying I'm not allowed to in a private business.
Yeah.
But I think,
or maybe you just have to ask.
right. But what I'm saying is like, forget about what the rules and the laws are. Like, what do you think about like just people filming shit?
I mean, whatever it takes to express yourself, I guess.
No, I mean like the cop with the knee on his fucking face. Like, what if someone wasn't filming that?
Yeah.
Or all the brutal, like all the shit that people used to get away with.
Yeah.
Like you can't get away. I'm fucking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show the world what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think I think there could be like a real revolution happening with that. With like
There is.
Yeah.
It's
Right
new
now.
technology, right? It's just
is
new
it
technology.
possible to turn me down at all?
Yeah.
No, it's
But
just
then he won't be able to hear, and neither will he, and neither will I. So he wants it loud. So I don't know what to do.
Okay.
Well, I mean, if you
It's
want
just
to,
that
if
the
you want to
real-
take it down a bit, I'm okay with that. Like, I mean, if we can find a happy medium here, I'm open to it.
Yeah.
you just need a little like 4-channel mixer. It's
I
not
know.
that
I'm gonna
difficult.
get one.
It's
I mean,
all
I
good.
think I even have one, dude.
I'm ready to spend some more money here.
I know. I just dropped like $600 on Amazon.
I mean, I'm
yesterday.
spending. So
Dude, that
much.
car's dope.
The FJ Cruiser.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, it's 2000. I was just telling Gus about it. It's 2008 Toyota FJ Cruiser, picked up for $20,000, like back in 2016, and it had 60,000 miles on it. Like, I was like, oh my god, this is
It
amazing.
looks like new. You must take good care of it.
I actually, yeah, I do. It was the first vehicle I've ever bought on a car loan. Up until that, I just owned shitty cars for like $1,000, $1,500. So yeah, I definitely try and take as good care of it as I possibly can. What's he doing?
I don't know.
Oh, Veronica, you want me to not smoke? I cannot smoke. I don't
Pat
want to be
smokes anyways. So
disrespectful.
It's normal.
Okay.
So when are we doing this movie? What do you think?
What's
How
up?
do you think we should approach it? I think Mike might fucking just not like me anymore. Honestly,
I don't know. You'd have to talk to Mike.
I know. I just he wasn't feeling like me posting about like my experience in AA. Have you ever spoken to him about any of that?
I don't really feel comfortable talking about Mike without Mike being in the room.
Yeah.
But I mean, I love Mike. I like.
Yeah,
working
so
with
do
him.
I.
And I'll.
Or
I'd
let
like
me
to work
ask
with
you
him.
this: What are your thoughts on that?
On what?
Me like filming my shares in AA.
I mean, if I was at the meeting, I probably wouldn't like it.
Right. Even if it was just me.
Like, to be honest with you, I kept an open mind tonight because I have rigorously in my life kept my anonymity
Right.
until tonight. Like, in regard to the live stream and talking about it openly, I don't talk about it on. I've never talked about this on a public.
Why?
Forum. Because it's something that it's sacred to me. What I've been through and
Sure.
what I'm doing, it's important to me, and it's sacred, and it's not something that I want to go off and advertise. However, I don't want to also be that guy that's completely blocking it out. I see what Pat's creating over here. I support it. I think it's great. So when he asked me to be a part of it, I said, you know what? I want to be open to this experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean I'm going to openly talk about my sobriety now for the rest? No, I'll probably, go back to just keeping it my anonymity on it, like in that.
I've found that like there's so many people struggling.
Yeah, I agree, and that's why I'm saying I don't believe you're asking me to come on here to be like. I think that you
let me
are trying to
finish.
help. Anyways, yes.
Let
Sorry,
me
I
just
cut you off.
finish.
Yeah.
So there are so many people out there in the world struggling who don't know what AA is, or don't even have access to meetings, or don't even really understand that there are like people that are sober. Like, it's weird, especially in other countries. So I almost feel like it's my obligation in a way to share what I've been given, right? They say you can't keep it unless you give it away, especially in the quarantine where we can't go to meetings even. So I almost feel like, okay, how am I going to give this away?
And there also is the abuse it, you lose it. Right?
Yeah. So how am I going to give it away? I should be posting about it, unless I have some kind of job that I'm afraid to lose or whatever. Unless there's some specific reason why I can't, for selfish reasons, you know? But like, I just feel like, what I've been seeing in return is fucking insane.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are getting inspired and like motivated to be able to stay sober and to get sober. And then just like the overwhelming like pain and suffering, just the messages about like all the fuck, I don't know what to do. I'm so miserable. My boyfriend, my son, it's just like, all right, well here, look, check out my share on YouTube.
Yeah.
I just feel like we're at a place now where like things are changing, and this anonymity thing is just, we're preventing so many people from hearing this message.
Well, to be the devil's advocate, which I'm not taking a stance on it. I think, like I said, what you're doing, I think it's great. I believe in it. I believe it's coming from a pure place from you. I don't think you're doing it to, you know.
I mean, not everyone has to do it.
Exactly.
But like, don't get mad at me for helping people.
Well, I think
I'm not saying you are, but like,
right.
Like
people are going to have their own opinions, right?
Yeah.
Which that's the way of the world. But what I was getting at was saying is that also I always understood that the seventh tradition is because of the people that maybe already be famous, they get sober and then they relapse, and it gives AA a bad name. Yeah,
that's the ongoing
right. And
thing.
I'm not, and that's what I'm saying. So like, I get the balance of both sides. That's what I'm saying for myself. Like, if I'm going on a podcast, I've done sober podcasts, right? Like, and you know, like I said to you, there's some podcasts where I don't share, no one's asking me, and I'm not volunteering the information. However, coming here tonight, like, obviously that's what you're doing over here, and that's part of the reason why I'm invited. So I'm like, well, yeah, why would I say, hey, Pat, I'm not going to talk about my sobriety? You'd kind of be like, well, that's what I'm doing. Then, like, I'm not going to have you on the show.
Honestly,
so,
no, I still would.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. But either way, I'm into tonight. I'm totally comfortable. I'm okay with breaking my anonymity. I love the meeting that we did before, and I'm all about it.
And also,
you know, I felt the love in the room. I don't think anyone was judging me, and I definitely didn't feel like I had to be someone that I'm not. Like I was, you know.
And what I like about what Pat's doing and what this whole thing is, there's always been such a negative stigma on sobriety, and that like if you're in AA, you're kind of a loser. And now, like, this is breaking that barrier.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, it's like, okay,
everyone suffers from alcoholism.
Yeah, like it's not a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
But also,
it's
like,
not
showing,
terminal.
But also, kind of showing it what it really is.
Well, here's what
does it really
and that it's okay.
Like
if you don't have to be embarrassed that you have.
No. But what I'm saying is, what does it really look like to stay sober? What are we actually doing? In here. I don't want that to be a secret.
Yeah. And because I'm
just looking at my part.
Yeah,
that's pretty much
saying
all
that from the way when like Pat first took me to a primetime meeting, I walked in and I shrugged. I was like, nah, this ain't me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not these guys.
I was like that. Like,
you know what I mean? And like talking about it and breaking that barrier, like you're just a man amongst men.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
that's why I always say, if all I got to say is I'm an alcoholic and here's a fucking $1, but I get to the bottom of my self-pity and selfishness and self-absorption, I'm fucking all there.
Yeah.
But also, you have to remember, we weren't doing a meeting, an AA meeting outside. That wasn't an AA meeting.
Oh, okay.
That was a Sermon on the Mount meeting.
Oh, that's true.
With you know, DDA does hallucinogenics all the time.
Yeah.
He's far from sober.
Before I got sober, I actually was in another 12-step meeting, adult children of alcoholics and dysfunctional families. That's where I started for a year.
That was a really good program. How was that?
It's intense. It's heavy. Yeah, I got a lot out of it. I still relate to all that work and dig back there. That to me is where the root of all of it is. It's the reason why I drank. I went into that program first because I didn't know what being sober was getting at. And I think that was just too far for me to fathom, but it got me into the 12 steps, which got me in touch with me, which got me in touch with a higher power. And then from there, I realized like, oh, now I'm face to face with these problems I have. And a lot of the problems were coming because of my abuse of drugs and alcohol. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm being a hypocrite now and I don't want to be that. So I made that leap into going, okay, well, if I believe that anyone who's ever done anything great had to sacrifice something. So what was I willing to sacrifice? Okay, well, I can at least give up drinking and clean up my life before I go upon judging others. So that's why I was like, I'm going to make that leap and start getting sober.
And that's kind of probably why I remember us talking about you didn't really have that big of a problem.
I think I caught it early, to be honest with you. Like I
raised your bottom through that program.
Yeah. Like I talked to people, like that's why I related to the prime time so much, because meetings I was going to was all about these low bottom drunkalogs. And I was like, man, that's just not me. Like, sure, I had some dark days. However, like, you know, I don't always relate.
I was the same thing with you. That's why it took me so long to like, you know, admit and come to and do a step one.
Man, it says in the big book, selfishness is self-absorption that we think, right? And I'm like, that's it for me.
That's a beautiful thing that you guys didn't have to like lose, you know, that the bottoms can be raised. You don't have to lose everything and your health and everything else before you get sober.
Yeah. I could have went for a much longer time.
Yeah. Well, you got sober young too.
Yeah, but I had like, you know, I totaled a couple cars, got a couple DUIs, got kicked out of my, but I still could have kept going. My dad would enable me till I was 50.
Yeah. And that's honestly what I saw too, right? Like, and luckily, like I say, the beautiful part of 12-step programs is the fellowship. And then, like I said, being blessed with another man who I could that I grew to have trust with, that I could be honest with, that helped me move to those deeper places within me.
Was that your sponsor or someone else?
We never gave it the official title of, like, he said, sure, I'll be your sponsor, right? But we always just looked at it as like, this is my guy, like, that I can just call still to this day.
Working with another.
Yeah, like I still talk to him, you know, and run everything by him. He's my dude.
Did he take you through the steps though, or someone else?
No, like I had a sponsor here, Boots on the Ground in LA, that in both programs that took me through the steps. And he's just always been a part of that journey.
So here's the thing. I'm seeing a lot right now, right? One thing I'm seeing that we just did a podcast with Randy is that this whole Alcoholics Anonymous, it's not about alcohol.
It's not.
It's kind of it's really the worst name that it could possibly have. I just feel like there are so many people struggling. There's a solution, right? It's really like a God thing, but to break it down in a more applicable, specific way, it's like these 12 steps, which basically is just like looking inwardly.
Yeah, it's getting in touch with the self. That's how I was looking. It's like my self-absorption, my narcissism. It's about me stop being a douchebag.
But what I'm saying is that this is like something that could like help the world.
Yeah, this is what I always love. Someone told me once, the big book is just the working man's Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but
I was like, I like that.
But it's limited to alcoholics.
Right.
And that's like a problem.
But there's also 72 other variations of the 12 steps.
Yeah.
And based off
almost kept me out of AA because I was a drug addict.
I
knew that, but I didn't think I was an alcoholic.
And
I didn't go to AA for years. I went to MA, I went to NA, I went to all these other A's.
And then AA is always, to me, AA is always the OG. It lays it on the table. It gets to the root of whatever's going on. You sober up, get real about your life. There's no bend there in AA. Yeah. That's why I love it.
Me too, yeah.
And combine that with the anonymity factor, and we're missing millions of people that are suffering, and they're just not hearing the message.
Well, you're right about that prejudgment. I had prejudgments of AA too, and like we all came in uncomfortable like that. And you have this idea of what it's about, and it's not about that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really about living I mean, it's about, what is it? It says in that big book, the whole big book, the whole reason for it is having a spiritual awakening.
Exactly.
That's the reason for the big book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also too, is I look at it as with the whole, you know, this journey that I've been on. It really is getting in touch with the, you know, the true the Roy that God made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That like, hey,
the real Roy.
Yeah, like who, and that's a process. You know what I mean?
Sure
And
is.
and I always came to it. So how am I going to find out who the real Roy is if I'm fucking still sipping on little cocktails?
You're not.
Yeah, you're not. You know, and I get it. It's scary and it's a big leap. And I remember the first time I heard Chapter 5, you know, and then I went to my first meeting. I was like, fuck, how am I ever going to go to a Dodger game? Like, you know what I mean?
How am I
Like,
going to do anything?
yeah.
I thought.
Yeah. And I was like, fuck. And then, no, the crazy part is it unlocked my life. So when you were asking me about Bud, that all happened. Like, it was literally a gift from God when I made that decision to get sober. Within those 60 days, like, car broke down, but insurance gave me a better vehicle, a safer one. And then locked in this huge contract, locked in the beginning of what has turned out to be an amazing contract and opportunity with a company to do what I love. And then by these little things like say yes to everything, you know, when you hear these little terms in AA, like Bud and Scott right there to embrace me, that all just boom turned.
Yeah,
and it was
it's like being open to life. And
Yeah, it's
closed
crazy.
off.
And
Yeah.
it's just, there's
Yeah.
just such a different energy about you. You know what I mean? About
Yeah.
people when they're sober. And it's just every time I go, you know, I'm 10 months sober now, but every time I'm near someone or an old friend or like, whoa, dude, what's new about it? Like something's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? And it's like, you don't even need to try.
Yeah, I see
that's
that
the
in you
point.
guys.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
sure.
I actually picked up on that vibe when you walked in, and when I was talking to you, I didn't want to that's why I eventually asked. I was like, "Oh, are you sober now?" And I
Yeah.
didn't want to come across rude because I know that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say you were in and out. You were.
Oh, I was.
you
That's
were-
what, yeah. That I was
Oh,
like
okay, so
feeling
you-
it out. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
and out. Like I was sober or I was dry for a year. I'm like, I don't need to do these
I remember
steps.
that,
Yeah, even when I shared about my winch, I'm like, I did no steps. I came to this meeting, but I didn't drink.
Yeah.
And like, it didn't work.
Yeah,
You know
it
what I mean?
didn't.
Not until like I really like surrendered. And,
The key is that you're actually not trying. Like before, you were trying so hard.
yeah. To
Look
like
at-
not be in, yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying when you go around your friends, like I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Now you're good.
Yeah.
Well,
So
what
you're
I-
actually trying less.
What I love what we're talking about here is that I've always believed that recovery has come, like recovery healing, I like to call it. Healing has come so far from when the big book was written.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
the beautiful part. Like it started with these two guys and a group
Yeah.
of people, and now look where we're at today,
Yeah.
where there's different variations of the 12 steps. There's all different, like, there's just like, and then imagine 1930, like us sitting around, like
Yeah.
what?
Well, what?
Like you couldn't. That's why Anonymity didn't exist. You didn't want to go into work being like, oh, I'm an alcoholic. Like fuck,
Well,
I'm gonna
okay.
lose my job. You know, nowadays like people don't give a fuck.
They actually like it. It's crazy. Like whenever
They
you go,
respect
they respect
that
it.
you're sober.
Like it doesn't matter who it is. Like you see these posts on Instagram, like 4 or 5 years sober, and it's like 80 fucking million comments. Like I'm so proud of you. That's so cool. It's,
So here's the thing that I think we all need to recognize and understand is that it is the anonymity thing is over.
Yeah.
It's over. I mean, I'm seeing, you know, on TikTok, there's this whole, the reason I'm so popular is because there's a whole subculture of sobriety and like, you know, people in rehabs. What do you, it's a lot. I mean, and look, the whole, like, so I guess that's kind of what I want to talk about a little bit is like, these traditions were written before the internet, before technology, before we were able to have every little thing. Because it's like back when they were written, it was like, oh, the press, whatever they say is what everyone has to believe.
yeah.
So it's like kind of scary. It's like, oh, this guy, like, did you hear the Rob Lowe podcast with Joe Rogan?
I only listened to a little bit of that, but
So-
yes, I know which one you're talking about.
So into the middle of the podcast, Rob Lowe's sober. And they start talking about it.
Yeah.
And Rob's like, you know, he's a celebrity. He doesn't know what to say. He's like, well, you know, I want to try to, there are some people in the program, like some old timers that would be upset with me if I, so my thing is like, look, dude, never expose anyone else's anonymity. Never.
Yeah.
Okay. But if I'm choosing
Yeah.
Which is why I mentioned if I'm filming myself, I mean, we're recording the meeting anyway. So what's the difference? It's weird. So if I just wanted to post a video on Instagram of me sharing, you know, it's getting recorded anyway, the audio, and that audio is being put on a website. So what's the difference?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either. But I guess the difference is it's video of me. I don't know. But I'm just saying that now that we do have the internet, and now that we are able to, like, the whole thing, Joe's whole thing was like, that's kind of retarded. Like, if you go to the gym and you don't work out, you're not going to get ripped. Like, his analogy was like, if you got sober and you're a celebrity and then you aren't sober anymore, it's like anything else in life. You just didn't, you know, no one's perfect, and it doesn't say. If people are making a negative judgment on AA because someone didn't stay sober, that's like very ignorant and naive.
Well, I look at it like, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I believe this is all an internal journey for myself. Like, for me personally, would I like do what you do is film someone at a meeting? If I did, I personally would be like, hey guys, frame me out of AA, because I'm not asking everyone in AA if this is cool, which I believe I would want to show the respect to that. And other people in it, I don't know if I'd want to have their faces or at least blur them out.
No, I'm saying,
I would more, like, I'm saying, that's all I'm saying for me, like, leaving the personal choice in it. Like, I don't think you're going to, like, who cares? Like, if I, like, me breaking my anonymity, if some old timer or newcomer came up to me and was like, you should have never talked about AA. Like, I was worried about with my doc, like, why are you bringing AA into your doc? And I'm like, yeah, like, that, like, man, like, if you're asking me that question, you just told me everything about you I need to know.
Right.
Don't worry about me.
Okay, so you talked about AA in your documentary.
Of course, it's part of Richard's journey.
It's exactly what I'm saying.
But here's the big issue. That's whatever.
But also, just so you know, I was only filming myself.
But there's I've seen clips where you can see other people in it.
Of my shit?
Yeah, like, you can see other people's faces and shit like that. Like,
No.
I don't know. Maybe it was my imagination, but I'm pretty sure that it's like you could see other people in the room. I'm saying, like, if I was one of those people that you could keep my shoulder, like, I'd be like, I don't know, I'd probably be too much of a pussy at the time, but I'd be a little bit like, hey man, like, I really don't. I come here because I want to be able to do what I did with you guys, which be able to go to a podium or in a group, cry my eyes out, share about shit that's dark, and not worry about some guy with pink hair coming up with a Snapchat. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Well,
but
listen,
that's what I'm saying.
And I think with, like, the
But
evolution,
I had to add that as like dramatics.
yeah,
but
like,
you get what I'm saying? Like, that to me is, like I said, like, tonight I made the choice to come in and share what I wanted to share. But like definitely if I was a newcomer and I went into a meeting and I saw someone Snapchatting, that would fucking weird me out.
Well, look, AA needs to be a safe place, and it must remain a safe place. And whatever needs to be done, that needs to happen. But the big issue here for me is nothing about anonymity. It's about money. And once you start making money off of AA, you can be tempted to tent the program, do things that you wouldn't do because there's money involved.
Exactly.
And that's what fucks shit up.
sure.
So I guess what makes it not safe?
Well, I don't think it's safe for me.
Not
It's
safe
sacred.
because you're spilling your guts, you're being vulnerable.
Right.
And then if you see someone filmed you doing that, you'd never go back to AA.
Well,
I
there's
honestly,
also,
like, that's
you
what
know,
I'm saying. Like, you
doing a-
might say, like, oh, he was only, I don't know that. Like, fuck, like, you try and convince me at 8 days at the primetime meeting, if at the time you were doing that and I saw you doing that, like, do you, even if you told me, like, oh man, it was only me, you're not in it, I still wouldn't give a shit. I'd be like, I don't know that's true. Like, why should I trust you?
Well, that's the thing about 2020 is everyone has a phone.
Right, and I get it. You
just-
take that risk, but
But everyone's just, it's gonna, in 5 years, like, everything's gonna be getting filmed.
well, I think it's
Every
always
single thing.
everything's always been under the eye of God, everything's seen.
Yeah.
So my point is that not get, like, I'm saying, me personally, I wouldn't do it just abruptly on people. I'd want to have. I wouldn't just, like, cram a camera in anyone your guys' face.
Well,
like,
yeah,
I would
who's
ask.
doing that?
Well, I'm not saying
No,
you're doing
that's not.
Nobody would ever
That's
do
not
that.
happening. And AA meetings are going to be AA meetings, but ours is perfect because everyone knows.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not even a fucking AA meeting. So we
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm taking it even further. I'm
Yep.
trying to figure out what is not safe.
It's not about, for me, it's not about
It's
safe.
not
It's sacred to the individual. Like I was sharing with you. To me, it's a sacred thing of what I've been through. It's sacred to me. Unfortunately for you, you don't get a say in that.
Yeah.
Even though I know people may, but guess what? You don't get a say in my life. I'll decide if you get a say in my life.
Nor would I ever film anything that you or anyone else was saying in a meeting. And that's why I only posted my share.
And do you think that affects...
But hold on. That's why I only posted my share. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I
hear what you're
got
saying.
nailed to the wall by some people.
Well, of course,
For
but I
posting
think you
my-
for you not
for
knowing,
me sharing.
for you not knowing that's coming, like that's on you.
That's okay.
and you don't need to battle that.
Well, right now I'm just wanting to have that conversation.
Yeah, that's fine. But
You know what I mean? And I want to try to unpack it and try to figure out why people are upset that I'm sharing my experience with my followers.
Right.
Because it's against the AA rules, and this just makes me think about what you were talking to with
Yeah,
your
but the AA rules are
therapist
also
today.
so fucking
Wherever
old.
you go, there's a problem.
True.
And that's just what you do, right? So
get out of jail
you like
free
to go-
card.
But
that
here's-
punk rock-
here's the other
it's
thing.
the punk rock edge to
But
Pat.
wait a second. What did we read tonight?
The beatitude, the persecuted. Blessed are those who are persecuted and reviled in something or another.
And that's me. I'm being persecuted.
Oh, that's a victim there.
No, I'm just saying.
By who?
The people that are tripping on me for sharing my truth.
But it goes on to say that persecution only comes from within. It
Yeah,
doesn't come
exactly.
from outside.
Yeah.
Blessed are those who are persecuted.
You're fucking
Saint-
full. You're so full of shit.
Saint Patrick.
St. Patrick.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, hey man, I'm not going to stop you from living your life.
No,
I don't
no, but
want to.
I
I don't
just-
want to have that responsibility.
The reason that
I have enough trouble being responsible for my own life.
Well, the reason that the reason I bring it up is because, like, so imagine like getting up to speak, right, at a primetime meeting. Okay,
I've done it.
It's scary.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm thinking, wow, there's a lot of people that aren't in this room that need to hear what I'm about to say.
But
that
why
are
don't you
following
do it in your car after?
It's not the same.
Doesn't matter.
It's just not the same.
But I'm saying,
the like you said, like the Zoom meeting, it's just not the same when you're in front of people.
but if you care that much about your message, then Jesus would fucking do it anywhere in the world. That's what I'm saying. Like
well,
the
because
story
there's a
of Christ.
magic. There's a magic that happens
There's
in
a
that.
magic that happens in the meetings.
I
You can't
agree.
react.
I'm not denying that there's a magic that happens in the meetings. I'm saying that, like,
But
you know,
that's
but
not
I
the-
look at the story of Christ. He didn't give a shit. He just did it in front of anyone at any time. He didn't need a magical meeting to do it.
No, and I do that too. I do all of it.
Right.
I do it in the meeting. I do it out of the meeting.
So my question is, why can't you respect the traditions in the meeting and do it outside of that, like here at your house, like you did tonight?
Well, I did, I can, and right now I am because there are no fucking meetings.
Okay.
But before COVID happened, I just felt like there was I just felt this kind of inspiration and like the need to expose, to share what I had been learning and what I had been given with all the people following me that want to be sober, that don't like understand what it is. Yeah. And I can't do that by myself. I wish I could, but I can't. The message isn't the same.
Feelings aren't facts.
He wanted to share the magic.
Right.
And Pat will just fucking break boundaries because that's what Pat does.
Yeah.
But can I say something real quick? And I think like just with yeah.
I
Like,
would agree with that.
I think the traditions and the program, it obviously works and it's great, but it's also very old. And
But
I
then
think,
it's-
hold on,
oh, sorry, yeah, go ahead.
the evolution of medicine and people finding new cures to things, and you know, people sharing that they have MS or lupus or whatever it is, and being able to like come out of that shell of feeling like there's something wrong with them helps build this program and evolve it.
Right. So
Because it's like old. It needs an evolution. It needs like, okay, fuck, it's not that bad.
But
it's like not that big of a deal. I can go and find some help. Even if it doesn't, you're not an alcoholic and you're like, fuck, I'm drinking too much. Maybe I should cut it back and start meditating more or pray
Right.
or whatever it is.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, then that's fine. You can do all that. No, I'm not denying that. I'm saying then it's not AA. Like, it's like the young peoples of alcoholics. They're like, get all mad. They're like, we're AA. It's like, no, you're young peoples of AA. Like, that's your own thing. Good for you for starting it. You know, like AA is AA, and that's what AA is, and that's their tradition. So I choose to respect it. What I'm saying is that, like, I wouldn't come into Pat's house and be like, no, I swear. And then Pat's like, yeah, but in my house, dude, when I invite you over, I don't like people swearing. And if you do it, then I'm going to ask you to leave. And it's like, okay. So it's like, I can either come in and not respect that, or I can. And that's what I'm saying to you. You can do it, but I'm saying then it's just like, you guys nailed it. You said, like Billy said, tonight wasn't an AA meeting.
I mean,
it's like, great. You're doing your own thing. You're pushing your own message. No one's denying that. I'm saying, but that's AA. And it's not my job to go, AA needs an upgrade. Like, if that sounds like a sick alcoholic, that sounds like a sick alcoholic.
That's kind of what Gus is saying.
Yeah, like, it's not on me to say AA needs an upgrade.
Right.
No, but I think it's just like the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. These things were written so long ago, and
they shouldn't get fucked with.
No, they've changed so much.
Right, and
they
that's
already
they fucked up. That's why.
No, I don't know.
No, but I don't know.
Hold on, AA is perfect. The people in it are not.
I don't know that A is perfect. Do you think A is perfect from to the top to the bottom?
Fuck yeah.
You wouldn't change a single thing.
Nope, because then it's not AA. Mm-hmm. It's something else.
Listen, I get it. Like,
you have your opinion.
No.
That's cool.
But I actually fucking agree, because, like, look at what we're reading.
Why? How did we get here?
Hold on.
Because of those traditions.
Yeah, but we're reading the fucking Beatitudes. Mm-hmm. Do you know how long ago those were written?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. There's something about, like, the original, like, Bill and Bob. Like, so I guess what I'm realizing now is that, like, thank God those people were angry at me. Do you know why? It inspired me to make my own thing.
Right.
Yeah. And now nobody can tell me a goddamn thing.
Well, the thing is, people can. It's just up to you to believe it.
But I already know I'm good. But like, here's But here's the thing. Here's where I want to. Now I want to. So I agree with you. I will never film a single thing in any AA meeting ever again in my life because of you. No, because of this conversation.
Me. It's not on me, but it should be because of you, Pat. Not because of me. See, that's what they would call bailing out.
No, because you helped me see something.
I don't know if I helped you see something.
Yeah,
you did.
It's not for you. It's not for you to tell me.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you that I'm seeing something right now.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay,
yeah, perfect.
It's been inspired by this conversation. That's why I think it's important for us to have these uncomfortable conversations about racism, about anonymity, about politics, about whatever it is, about you know, the sex change. We had a non-binary person on. Like, we just need to be talking about this shit. And I know it's a little bit uncomfortable, but I'm trying to do the right thing. And I don't. And when I feel myself share my experience, I'm thinking, oh, this is good. Like, I want to share this. And I actually got asked to speak from some other friends of mine but I should have figured out a way to do that when I was at a different location. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
I was in a room.
And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying you're wrong. I don't believe any of this is about people being wrong or right. I'm saying, for me, it's like, own your own shit and don't try and lie about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, for me, like, that's just it. Like, I'm not fucking saying, like, if someone tomorrow I wouldn't say anything. Like, I didn't message you saying, like, why are you filming AA meetings? I was just like, oh, that's Pat. Like, it's his experience. It's Pat. Like,
well, here's the nice thing about it: you can't go to jail for doing it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
At the end of the day, it just needs to be a choice.
It'd be ridiculous.
It's a choice,
and it always has been.
Too close to the mic.
No, I'm not.
I'm telling you are, and I can see the fucking audio waves. Just chill.
Bring my preamp down a little bit.
This is one of the more heated podcasts we've had. I
think it's great.
I came in with a bit of an attitude, and everyone's just kind of.
No, but this is really good because, I think you're wrong. Like, I broke a rule. It's pretty simple.
It's a tradition.
I broke a tradition, and that's wrong. You're talking about,
Possibly.
there's no right or wrong.
I don't know if it's wrong, mistaken. Maybe you were mistaken.
Right.
That's how I look at things. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I came into your house thinking it was okay to drop an F-bomb, it's like, sorry, man, I'm mistaken. Like, I thought...
No, it wasn't a mistake. He knew.
Oh, okay, there it is.
I mean, bro.
I mean, how could he
Billy.
He'd been sober like 10 years.
No, bro, I was scared. like, bro, I had to put my phone, everyone's watching me, right? I put my phone, I press record, and now I have to speak. Could you imagine how nerve-wracking that would have been? Like, just think about that. So I did that like a bunch of times towards the end.
Hey, but also too, it got you to this place. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's all part of the experience.
But I was like taking that chance, like thinking in my mind, like, this is going to be good for all the people that see, because there are people that don't ever get to see that. I mean,
it sounds like it was good for you, and I think that's the most important part.
Here's the thing: if you spent one day in my shoes reading the messages that I get every day, I think it would change how you see all this shit.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, but also if you sat in my shoes for one day, it would change how you see all this.
Yeah.
So, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
There's no longer around.
No, but you haven't. But you're doing what I did.
Well, how do you know?
Well, no, I'm saying as far as like the traditions, and it's so funny that Roy, we had Randy on here, we had Gary Litt on here, we had Paul on here, we've had a bunch of people on here, Hillary on here in prime time, sober members of AA. None of them had as strong of a stance on like anonymity as you do. And that's why it's just funny that this is what the conversation is becoming, because well,
I think we're all our own unique
Well, I think we
individuals,
hone the questions more too from those experiences. Like, we're asking more direct questions
because we're trying to get to the bottom of it, and we're not wanting to, even though if you pay attention to what's happening online, which not a lot of people that come on this podcast are, like, I don't think you're really hip to what's going on TikTok in the sobriety, because there's a whole subgenre on TikTok, sobriety subgenre, and millions of people just talking about it and just exposing their truth, and others identifying it. It's this whole incredible healing that's happening. It's like, it's basically like AA on through social media.
Zoom really took off like that. Zoom meetings have really helped a lot of people.
It's been a perfect storm, because now all meetings are kind of on Zoom, and TikTok is taking it up, and COVID kind of just was a catalyst or a steroid for this thing that's happening.
So I think that the conversation needs to be had.
So this is why I believe that on some sort of different level, I
fucking stupid thing stops recording every 28 minutes.
Oh, you got it timed out?
So I have to keep recording.
Oh, okay. So this is why I think it's like, for me, it's not like, this is why if I believe in something, I'm not scared to use my voice, but I'm also taking the risk that I could be mistaken. So this is where I don't believe we're disagreeing or agreeing on anything, because with my documentary, I always say, I want this documentary to create a conversation. And Richard is the poster boy of this person who literally I film him hit a rock bottom, and then I watch him come back and be a totally different person at the end of it, all due to him getting sober and working the 12 steps in AA. And it's not, and I didn't make it about AA because that would just be lame. The point is that I've always said to people, because there are like, a lot of people are criticizing his humor, like it's, is it like, can't be saying those words now, and like lots of things he gets hammered for, and I'm like, who cares? Like let's create a conversation around the fact that fucking you don't even know how many people die from alcoholism every year because you can't fucking track it. But they have no problem saying, 10,000 people, 100,000 people lost the lives of opioid addiction. How many people do you think lost of alcoholism? You can't even fucking count it. So the conversation should be had. Congratulations, we're here. Start having it. And have and I'm okay with speaking where I'm okay with sharing my vulnerability and truth, because my goal in life is to love seeks to understand, and I seek to understand other people, and I seek to understand myself. So therefore, what are we talking about here? We're talking about love. And that's okay.
I really like what you said, to be love. It just changed it for me.
Stop trying to tell,
but just be love, because that's more of a God thing. That's
stop trying to tell love, or I decided to work on stop trying to tell love what love is, and start to listen to what love is, and let love tell you what the fuck to do.
That's heavy.
Well, like for me tonight, it's not trying to convince you of like what I did, why I did what I did. It's to try to understand that there is a tradition.
It.
Well, that there is more specifically, like there is a tradition, and that is not my house.
Yeah. You didn't write that tradition.
No, and that's not my house.
Yeah, exactly.
And whether or not that's right or wrong, the rules are don't fucking film in a fucking... Did you know Astrid was here a little while ago?
And so this is what I want to always clarify.
You know who that is, right?
Yes, I do. This is what I always want to clarify. To me, it's not rules, it's tradition. So it's like when I hear traditions, I think rules I want to break because I'm an alcoholic. When I hear traditions, I go, okay, is that something I can seek to understand? Can I be love? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that was the point of what I was getting at with you. It's not a rule. I'm not saying you broke a rule. I'm saying there's traditions and you made a choice to not follow the traditions.
Yeah. And also,
that's it. Like, own that. And if you don't own that, then I'm going to say, why the fuck are you squirming? Get real. No. Be love right now. Be vulnerable. It's okay. Like I'm always thinking I'm doing right things and not, or the hardest thing is what I think what Gus was getting at when you're share. I wanted to scream out to you, Gus, but I didn't want to cut you off. I said, like, you know how you were saying that you're wrong most of the time. And I said, but what about the times that you're dead fucking right?
Yeah.
That's the key of life, is owning that. Because me being a sick alcoholic and someone who's self-deprecating and self-pity and self-loathing and just self-absorbed, like, I want to avoid those times where I can be dead fucking right.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to embrace. I don't want to embrace like how fucking, like, I got to acknowledge that I can be an asshole and a douchebag and I can disrespect traditions and I can break rules and I can do these things. But like, that all should be brought up and recognized and opened up so I can be honest with myself. And now I want to be dead right. That's why Socrates, we're still talking to this day. If you can just stop lying, and then if you can stop lying, then you can start to learn to tell the truth. And there's a difference. So I don't know.
Well said.
So, but anyways, back to fucking when you asked me a question about meeting Bud. Let's talk about me. I'm just joking. No.
I don't ever know that you're dead right. I think that you're just always getting closer to being more right. But anyway,
yeah.
Let's ask you, like, what do you want to do next? Like, what's the long-term plan for Thailand?
For Roy Thai in Thailand? Well, I'm working on a project now that just started, and I'm excited about it. I want to keep doing my art. I want to do that to the day I die, or until I at least stop enjoying it. Yeah, that's the long-term plan.
Before we move on to the new project, can I ask one question? Are you keeping track of like views and how well your movie's doing, or any of that?
No, I don't even really read the reviews.
So you don't have any idea? You're not curious a little bit?
No, I actually. Of course, if someone told me, I'd be like, cool. It was exciting when it was like top 10 on iTunes. I was like, on my TV, it's like fucking right there. I was like, oh my God, it's surreal. Like hearing your song on the radio.
It's got to be a trip.
Yeah. So that was exciting, but nah, I'm not interested in it, I'm not interested in.
Well, you're interested in it. You just know that it's not going to help serve you.
Yeah. That's
like we're supposed to be detached. We're supposed to be detached from the results.
Yeah.
And I think as artists, the results are very difficult.
The result for me was,
especially as an alcoholic, because you're going to see it, and then you're going to want more.
So exactly. So like the one thing that I can say, like, if it sells one copy or a billion copies, they're both great.
You made the best thing you could make.
I could make the best thing I could make. And to be honest with you, when it premiered at Whistler, and my dad, he like walked up to me, and like, I've never seen my dad like this, but he walked up to me and he just wanted to grab me, and he goes like, fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
You're fucking brilliant. And I was just like, holy fuck. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my aunt pointed out, who was with me from the beginning of, like, I lived at her house when I first moved to Vancouver to go to film school and stuff, my Aunt Martha. And she said to me at dinner, she said, Roy, like, how many people in their lives go not to have this experience? Look at all these people, friends and family, that have showed up and flew to Whistler and drove to Whistler to come watch your premiere. Like, so many people go on their entire life and never get that experience. And I was like, you're absolutely right. And I knew at the Whistler Film Festival, I was done with talking with distributors and trying to hustle my film. I was like, fuck all these people. It's just the same old fucking racket.
Yeah.
go schmooze
dope.
at like a cocktail hour. Hey, I got a documentary about a comedian who drank himself homeless and he's sober now. It's 10 years later. Like, what's your log line? Like, fuck all that shit. I was like, I just stopped. I was like, I'm not doing this. And it found its own distribution on its own when it was time. Comedy Dynamics came through in the clutch, and that's it. It is where it is, and that's where it'll live. That's theirs for the next 20 years.
That's dope.
And that's it. I'm proud of it. I really am. It's
Well, bro, I mean, that's
like I was sharing with you, right? Like I was tearing up about the grieving thing, right? Like it's a part of me, right? Like
You almost made me cry just a second ago.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true though. Like that was
Roy's a deep dude.
The part with your dad and stuff.
dude,
man,
this fucking
touching.
guy,
Yeah.
you know, I can relate because I've been trying to do this learning to lose thing for 5 years, and I'm figuring out what it is, and like it's
a name to Love Let's Go.
like he worked on this thing for 10. I mean, dude, when I met him,
I was talking about it.
you probably, I mean, you how many times did you consider abandoning the project?
Not once.
But how many times did you have doubts about it?
Not once. It was just like it'll just get done when it gets done,
Right.
or it won't, and I'll live with that.
I want to say one thing.
You know,
this guy, we shot a short film for Roy, and I just remember Mike. He kept hitting me up. When is this fool gonna edit this shit? It took you a year. It took him a year to edit this fucking short film that he did. But it was like, I guess you just have a different relationship with your art and creating it, and you have this patience and this faith, which is cool. And maybe I can learn from that a little bit, because like I woke up this morning and I was like just thinking like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what am I doing?
Oh, I have those
Like,
thoughts all the time. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I
Because I look at you and I go, fuck, how the fuck's this guy doing it?
Well-
Honest to God, I'll sometimes say to Chelsea, like, how the fuck does he do this? Like, I'm like, how does he just crank out this material and just fucking do it? I'm like, I mean, I can do it to a degree, but it's like,
Yeah, but-
I have a different relationship, like you said, with my work. I
But
guess.
Roy, like, who the fuck cares about me?
I mean,
I'm not
I
like,
do.
no, I know, but I'm not like I woke up this morning and I'm like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah.
Some fucking famous guy? No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not.
But you are to a degree.
But it's like, I don't know. It's like weird. It's like, I had all these doubts about like if you looked at what I'm trying to do, like people are getting, like Alex, you know, like I have an ad running on I have an ad. Have you seen anything for the reality show that we're trying to make?
No, but I think it would be genius.
So we have like a pilot and a sizzle, and like we're working on a couple episodes, but like the sizzle is like, hey, I'm Patrick Ridge. I was in a band called Hypercrush. I have a production company. This is my wife. Like, I'm sober. She's not. And it's like, we're advertising this, right? On YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Right. It's got like 150,000 views on YouTube.
Wow.
But it has like all these comments, like people like, why do I care? Who the fuck does this guy think he is? Why is this an ad? Like, just
Amazing.
a lot of hate, because they're seeing this and they're like, oh, this is what's wrong with the world. And like, everyone wants to be a star. And it's like, so like, it's very, I can go to this place of like,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I want
I
to
think it takes a lot of strength to what you're doing, because this is new technology,
I
right?
just had a thought.
Let's hear it.
What if you started it with, I really want to help people,
Exactly.
and then they would
Just
know
thinking
why,
that.
and then to be a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it does start with that. But like, that's pretty early on. But yeah.
But
That comes pretty early in the show.
Right, but the initial advertisement maybe should be this, I want to help people.
Yeah, but that's bullshit. You know, like
Well,
I
then
do want to help
There would be a
people.
why and a reason.
I do want to help people, but I also want to make art. Like, so here's the thing.
and do you not enjoy like being?
But here's the thing.
Do you
like,
not enjoy being recognized?
Well, you got a good podcast voice, dude. Yeah.
The only thing that I want is to have a platform to make art.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. Like,
That's it.
Yeah, and I
so,
think-
so. What
and
I really want to do is direct a film.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have $10 million.
you don't need it.
I don't have $1 million.
I did a film with no money.
I don't have the time and the energy.
What are you talking about? You're pumping out fucking videos every fucking second of the day.
Yeah, but that's getting me followers, which
Right.
I can use.
Okay, great.
But if I spend the next 5 years of my life making something, I don't know, like
You're like the Woody Allen of Instagram. You know what I mean? Like Woody Allen could just crank out a movie every year. He wrote, directed
Right.
it. No fucking director could ever can't do that to this day. Still can't do it. He's the
amazing.
fucking man. That's what I'm saying, dude.
But
Like
Roy,
you're killing it.
But
I really do believe it.
But I do need some money to make.
Yes, of course.
this film. Like the learning to lose thing
yes.
that you know what it is.
It takes money. Yes.
So I don't really have that. I don't have the resources. It was
Yeah.
becoming a very, like, I had like the trailer. Like you saw the trailer. Like I made a lot of cool. I wrote a script. I have all. But it's like, okay, let me just like put this aside for a second because I'm noticing over here with this reality shit with me and my wife and my sobriety, I'm noticing this is actually like resonating with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So let me just do this.
Yeah, great.
Because I actually can do this. I can just, this doesn't need to be, this is good enough for
Yes.
the reality show.
Yeah, yeah.
The iPhone, like, so, and then I can send it to my editor and then we
Yeah.
can put together, I have old footage. And actually, to be honest, a lot of people, when I showed them the trailer, they're like, is this a document? Like, cause it's got footage of me.
Yeah.
So it just made more sense to make like a reality show about,
Yeah.
plus this house is just becoming this like hub.
Yeah, that's great.
And there's all these different characters and,
No, yeah.
so that's
Just
really
staying out of the way of the result. Let that like that, and that's what I say with me, like with the documentary, right? Like people always ask me, like, "Oh, like when did you decide you were going to make a doc with Richard?" It's like I didn't. Like, how
just-
sick was I filming a guy in his rock bottom?
You know what? I had another thought.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean?
So
Please hold on to that thought.
Okay.
Don't forget it. How sick was I? Oh, you were like not even sober.
who cares, sober or not? Why? Like that's what I say. Like everyone was like giving Richard a hard time for how he behaved in the documentary.
But you were just sitting there filming.
That's what I'm
it.
saying. Like who's fucking sicker? It's like
Well, because-
Bill and his wife. Like who's sicker, the alcoholic or the wife sticking with the alcoholic, thinking he's going to change? Right? That's what I'm saying. Like I'm there filming fucking Richard. How sick am I? So I say like it's just I don't know. I've just really started. I really learned something with this documentary was just get the fuck out of the way and let
Yeah.
the train roar.
Yeah. I'll tell you what you were doing. You were capturing authentic moments of passion and vulnerability and you were just capturing like raw like art. Some people say that art, the highest form of art is truth.
Well, here's what I always said. I always say like, this is our playground, right? Like this life is,
Yeah.
God gave us this playground. We're here to play. So it's like me and Richard got to play, but God really had the fucking show.
Mm-hmm.
He could have died. I could have died, right? Any moment. But like God provided this platform for us to fucking fuck around and play and make this documentary. And he saved, he had it the whole time.
And you know what I think so far and what might be probably the best thing to come out of it was that night you had with your dad and your family.
Numerous, and there's so many endless amount of nights like that. It just keeps
Like, that's-
pumping out these things. Like the moment where I saw it, me and Chelsea saw it on iTunes. Chelsea surprises me with a party. You know, there's all these moments
Yeah.
that keep coming. Like I'm on the podcast talking with you about it. This is one of them.
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
keeps producing
But-
these beautiful moments.
But
Right.
because
Who's Chelsea?
you
my girlfriend,
because
we live together.
you spent so much time and energy on this thing and it was hard at times and
Oh yeah.
that's what makes it even better. It's like if it was easy, it might not.
Everyone would do it.
But not only that, but it wouldn't be as rewarding for you, maybe.
Yeah, it's the pain.
Yeah.
It's going through the pain. It's going back to what I was saying today. Joy is not the absence of pain. So it's going through that pain that makes it worth living. Life is difficult.
So maybe that's where the learning to lose.
Love, let's go.
Slogan
Change it.
comes
Change it
in.
to love, let's go.
Love, let's go.
Yeah, love's the only thing strong enough to let go. You let go of everything and lose nothing. That's what you could have just summed up your share today at your last share of the night. You could have just looked there and were like, I let go of everything and lost nothing.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah, because like,
I mean, but no one can, that's fucking easier said than done, but that's the truth. Even when I was in Whistler doing the fucking the premiere and all
Well,
that
that's
shit.
surrender.
Yeah, surrender, right? So like when I was even in Whistler with the premiere, all my buddies, all my old friends show up. Beautiful moment. All these friends I haven't seen in a while that I used to get just hammered with, they're all going out that night, and I'm supposed to be leading the pack because that's what I did, right? I'm supposed to be just out there with them, and I went back to my place with my sober friends that I came with and my girlfriend, And I remember just telling Chelsea, like, this is a surreal moment. She's like, why? Do you want to go with him? I was like, no.
Yeah.
No. I was just like, and I let go of everything and lost nothing.
You knew what it was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I saw those guys the next day. They're all hungover, going to a documentary about a guy getting sober, and I love them for it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I fucking love you guys. Just gave him a hug. It's just magic.
Wow, yeah.
It's just beautiful.
Plus, it's like a personal thing. So you want to share it with your close little group and not a drunken party, right?
Yeah. And it's me. I changed. I still wouldn't, even if it wasn't a premiere of a documentary. I really don't really want to go hit up the nightclubs in Whistler.
Yeah.
Maybe I go with Chelsea as like a hilarious time to laugh and dance and fucking, hopefully get laid later. But like, you know what I mean? But other than that, like, I'm not really looking to.
Isn't it
like,
crazy though, like how hard it is to like actually make something? And
a lot of effort.
How long it takes?
Yes, it's a lot of effort. Yeah.
Could you imagine being like Quentin Tarantino or like Woody Allen? Like every year he has some new thing out.
Yeah,
like how the fuck?
How does he do it? Just love. Just love. It's got to be. That's honestly the only reason why I like.
He's got to have a one-track mind. That's all he thinks about.
Well, no, he's connected in a way that is we'll never see that. Everything has changed. He grew up in a different time. He started making films in a different time, and he's Woody Allen, so he just can get money, and he has his crew, and he has his system, and he has everything in place. Now we are in a very different time now where things are oversaturated. There's a fucking thousands of people trying to make things, directors. It's just different.
Actors,
That's also part of,
and it's beautiful. Like, I love it. I love the fact that there's just content out there. It's all.
Do you want to hear my thought?
Yes, I want to hear your thought.
Completely gone.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's big or not, but the fact that you're getting hate is a very blessed thing.
Yes.
You know why? Because if people didn't notice or give a shit, they wouldn't say anything.
No, yeah.
They wouldn't even bother making a comment.
No, my therapist says, like, when you're touching people, touching someone, you don't know how it's going to.
This is what I do whenever I work with someone new or anyone that I'm talking to. I purposely want to touch on their sore spot because I know how the fuck they're going to react. It's on me if I think, whoa, why is this newcomer yelling at me right now? It's just like, well, obviously they're going to. That's the way it is, man. If you're like, he's to his point, like if you're getting hate, like you're touching on something.
Yes.
But you're also probably getting positive stuff.
Way
too.
more.
Yeah. So like it's just the way it is,
The funny part is that the people that are the haters are just the one they're more likely for some reason to comment. They're keyboard warriors.
Oh fuck. Who knows why they're doing it? I mean,
no,
like,
but I'm saying that like there's something about
keyboard warriors.
There's something about like when you're a well-rounded person and you're like, logical, you're not as likely to like write something on someone's post. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, cool, I got something out of that. But like the people that are like kind of like they're the ones that.
I don't think I've ever like written a negative comment on anything.
Why would I spend
life.
any time at all doing that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
But I also think keep in mind too, like, not to suck our dicks here, but we have went through a process of change where I definitely know what it's like being that guy, leaving those comments. And I'm like, I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Right.
Like those people may not have been slammed into the ground to go, do you really want to keep being that douchebag? Because I definitely don't know. Like Pat, like I always joke around him like, oh man, I'd love to just I'd love to troll Pat. It'd be so fun because I just know I could get a reaction out of him, right? But it's like clearly I wouldn't, and I know, and he would know it's a joke. But I'm saying like I get why people are trolling. It makes sense. You know what I mean? Like why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't read them anymore.
Yeah.
Every time we talk about this truth, there's something I did I have to rectify, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
Because it's money.
Oh, yeah.
And now I think I have to.
What is it?
Because it's just been hitting me. Every time someone says something that's like true, it hits me. Yeah, I gotta fix it. When COVID hit, I stopped paying my rent.
Oh, yeah, I did too.
And they're still trying to get it out of me. And I'm thinking, well, if I want to have integrity, I signed the contract that I would pay, right? No matter, it doesn't matter if COVID hit or not. I think I'm going to try to negotiate and pay less, but I think I'm going to have to step up.
Well, don't they have payment plans?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could work something out.
You got to pay.
But
it
I could
over
also
time.
say fuck you and not pay shit.
No,
Yeah,
they
'cause
can take,
technically,
they can take
legally-
it. No, they'll take it to small claims.
Yeah,
court.
they'll take
Le-
me small
but
claims
legally,
and I'll
right-
say fuck you. I don't have any money.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. They'll start stipending your salary. They'll take your
I
bank
don't have a
account.
salary because I work for myself.
Do you have a bank account?
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
access to
They'll
that
go in
shit.
there and fucking take
Well,
your
then
shit.
when the judge says, then I'll say, okay, sorry, COVID had no money. I'll work something out.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking I should probably just step up and have
do
some
the right thing.
integrity.
This is what always helps me is it's like it's not my money, it's God's money. It's not God's.
Yep.
It's not my apartment, it's God's apartment. But I do agree with
But
you.
more than anything, it's me.
Yeah.
I want to be good for my word, or what else am I?
Exactly.
Right.
See, I did the same thing. Like me and Chelsea didn't pay rent for like quite a few months, right? And I remember talking to her. She was like, "Oh, she was scared to like, oh, we have to pay rent." And I was like, "Whoa, hold on, we don't have to. There's a law in place." And to be honest with you, I don't know when I'm getting paid right
Yeah,
next.
that's me too.
I'm owed a bunch of money. It's not come through. Like
I
what do
was
we
in
ta-
debt,
Yeah,
all
I'm
this,
like,
yeah.
it's same with me. And I was like, I'm not paying it. So it was really uncomfortable for quite a few months, but we didn't pay. But then when I was paid up, I paid the full. I dropped a check for 10 grand. Here it is. When I was paid up, and I was like, there you go. But like, if I was still in a position where money was owed
Yeah,
and I didn't
I'm still
have it,
getting caught up on.
yeah, then
getting paid, so.
honestly, for me, like that's why the law is there. Like it's that, hey man, like you're not going to get evicted. However, it's open for it to be worked out where you can pay it back over a year. So it's like that's why it's there for you to take advantage of that. It doesn't make you like a scumbag for doing it.
Yeah.
However, like it'd be a different story if I got all that money and then I went, yeah, I'm still not going to pay him. Fuck him. You know, I'm going to try and get away with something. No, I wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Well, I have my stepdad as an influence, and he's just like, fuck him.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh,
not
yeah.
good. Because you got to remember too, like, there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? That shit goes up the ladder. So the person who's got to pay the mortgage on it's going to default.
Yeah.
Then they're going to lose their house, and
They're
their kids are
selling
going to
the
be on the
house
street.
now.
Okay, well, it doesn't. Yeah, what I'm trying
Their
to say.
kid's not going to be on the street.
Well, you don't know that. What I'm saying is, like, you don't know other people's financial
right.
situation. You know, if they can't pay their mortgage, they lose it. They lose money.
Yeah, you don't know
whatever
the
it is.
ramifications. Yeah,
I don't
agree
know.
with that.
I just think I'm the same. I mean, I've been paying my rent this whole time, but several times have been like, nah, fuck them. Like,
Yeah, I
you
like
know?
I said, me and
But
Chelsea.
then I hate owing people anything.
Yeah,
I hate
Well,
having
I
this.
was in such financial duress even before COVID hit, and then it hit, and then I'm like, oh fuck, I don't know when I'm going to get money
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, I hear you, dude. Like I said, for me and Chelsea, we had that uncomfortable conversation, and it was really uncomfortable not writing them letters every month and saying that we don't have the rent and keeping a tally of it and doing all that. It was fucking uncomfortable. We
Yeah.
just moved into that place, but then when I got the money and I was like outed, like because I was owed a lot of money that I didn't know if I was going to get.
Right.
You know, like the people who I was working for could have been like, "Hey, COVID, fuck you, not paying you."
Yeah.
We went bankrupt. You know, so when I got the money, I did the right thing, I believe, and I said, "Here's your rent," and I've been paying it ever since. But if I was still in dire straits, I'd be like, "Yeah, guys, I know this is uncomfortable. However, I don't have the rent. If you want to work out a payment plan, I'm open to that. But I'm not like I just don't have a check for 10 grand. Like if I did that, that'd be putting me in a bad spot. And see, in my life, I got to remember, I have to take care of me first, so then I can be in a position to help others." All right, so that's how I feel
So I'm
about
just
it.
letting it ride out. Things
Yeah.
are starting to look better financially and stuff. So
Yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
take care of it.
don't stress too hard over it. You know, even if it's like $100 a month, start paying it back.
Or whatever you can afford.
I mean, whatever it is, $50 a month, like it doesn't matter.
I'm
But
gonna
if you
use the
start,
bathroom real
if you start doing that and just paying them back slowly, like you'll start to feel better about it. You know,
Yeah,
doesn't matter what it is.
you're right.
You know, or take the fucking $100 and put it in a piggy bank, or whatever you can afford. You know, put it in a safe. $100.
Yeah, it's all
$50.
about you feeling good about yourself. So
Yeah,
and doing the right thing.
Yeah, and just progress. You're not, if you don't have it, you don't have it.
Yeah.
But if you're like, maybe I won't. Not that you seem like a pretty like normal. You're like, you don't go and buy like lavish things. I've never seen you like,
No, but
buy a
hanging
fucking-
around Pat, I'm starting
Yeah.
to get the lavish bug.
right. Instead of like spending $50 on a fucking sushi box from Nozawa, take that 50 and put it in a drawer and be like, oh, I'm going to pay that rent back.
Yeah.
Small things like that. Are we about wrapped?
I think so. Do
think
we
we're about
want to hit
wrapped.
it, learning to lose?
Yeah, just
What did
this girl.
what did they say in Natural Born Killers? Love's the only thing to beat the demon.
This girl, this single mother.
Hey, so do you put the whole podcast just up online like this, and people can watch the whole thing?
No, well, yeah.
That's
it's,
cool. Yeah, I was only wondering because the long form.
Is this still going? Well, the video is on YouTube.
Oh.
And then
I just listen to him on the podcast while I work.
it's on the
cool.
podcast app.
You put this whole thing unedited.
Yeah.
Right on. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
See, I love the just like fucking there it is.
No, I don't.
It's the only way to do it.
And then it's on Spotify. It's on Apple. It's on iTunes.
Yeah.
There's a pod. You know. What's up?
All major platforms.
This is really cool. I don't know. Part of my ego wants to share this, but it's also just kind of interesting. I mean, this is the kind of shit I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, 2 days ago, I was on TikTok on a live, and I spammed Patrick Ridge's account. He has a wife, Veronica Ridge. Like, he owns a production company, filming, photography, stuff like that. And she owns a hair
The good
salon.
stuff
She's
comes,
been there
like,
for 20
in a
years.
second.
And I got shouted out. And I love that. And honestly, like, if you're going through something really difficult in life and, like, you feel like there's no hope or anything, they went through 15 years of a bunch of different things. But from what I've taken from them as a single mom at 23 with 2 younger boys, I realized there's hope. And I watch the videos on YouTube. I watch Veronica Ridge all the time on TikTok and Patrick Ridge. And they have a bunch of friends that are really good too. I'd really suggest it if you need something to look up to.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They have a bunch of friends that are really cool too, because like I'm trying to get everyone like
Yeah, this is great.
like DDA and Billy. Like Billy, how many you got? Like
4,000.
this guy's got like 4,000.
That's awesome.
Oleg got like 4 or 5. Danielle has like 12. DDA has like 120 because he's some fucking model. I can't believe you've never met DDA, but you've seen him in my stuff.
Yes, I have seen him in your stuff.
He's great.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
But I
He's a
mean,
character.
yeah, this TikTok thing is really fucking. It's just this. I just can't believe it.
Well,
Like,
stuff like that makes it all worth it, right?
Yeah, but this is and not to like. This is amazing, but like it's every day with this shit. I'm
No.
like.
It's why that's why I say I support what you're doing because it's all worth it. Like even when I did the doc and like a woman after one of the screenings came up to me saying I think I needed to see that. Like I'm like it's all worth it, you know. Or when people like give you a positive review and understood what I made, like that's why I make it.
Yeah.
It's all worth it.
I'm gonna go
you know?
home and watch it tonight. I haven't
Well,
seen
thank
it.
you. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I know I talk about this a lot, but I just kind of want to break it down to you also is like since the beginning of, so Facebook, how long have we been dealing with with these social media platforms like Facebook?
20 years. Yeah, bro. MySpace. All that shit.
Okay, 20 years. So for 20 years, everyone has had the opportunity to present themselves however they want.
Yeah.
Right? How are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're obviously going to present the best, most beautiful version of yourself. It's all bullshit.
Right.
Look at me. I'm so happy. Sunset, big tits. Look at my ass. Look at how much fun I'm having. That's all that that's all that human beings have been posting for 20 years. Okay. Now we have this, these Wickhams and Nates and these Mikes. They're young. They're these young kids and they don't know. There's this shame when you're constantly looking at a better version of your life, constantly comparing your life, your insides to someone else's perfect outsides. Could you imagine the shame that it's not a good feeling? Going online and seeing that.
Are you saying that it's more than when it was before? When we were like in high school, we didn't have that. We would just compare ourselves to like the football player.
Well, no, we didn't have. In high school, we didn't have.
Like, are you saying that there's more of it, or it's more severe? Or
I think that, there's way more of it, and it's way more severe because you can literally meet somebody for the first time and find out how many followers they have.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Or even look at like Bumble, right? Like you look at a photo
Swipe
and you're
right,
like,
swipe
oh,
left.
she's hot, and then you meet her in person, you're like, oh, not so much.
Okay, so
or whatever,
it's just,
right?
It's in
so
that Black
I think
Mirror.
that it's been like detrimental to our youth, to our culture, to kids, to society. It's contributing to this like overly sensitive, this snowflakey.
It also contributes to that narcissism.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Big time.
it's raising narcissistic behavior.
Yeah.
You know, it's embracing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've actually never. You're in it, right? So I've never actually given it as much thought as you're giving
I'm
it
giving
right
it
now.
a lot of thought.
Yeah, and that's good that you are.
Yeah.
Because I think that you're right. It's
Well,
like
'cause you-
learning to use a gun. Like,
Yeah.
you don't just throw a gun in a 3-year-old's hand.
Yo, and
Right?
then that's not to mention the addictive part of it.
Yeah.
The dopamine hit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay, so my thing that I'm just, it's becoming more and more like, it's crystallizing. Like every time as I'm experiencing it, as I'm doing it, I'm realizing what it's for in a way. And
It seems like you're using it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like watching you over the years, you found a clever way of using it as a tool while at the same time expressing yourself. Mm-hmm. And I believe that's healthy to a degree. I don't know enough about, I'm not you, but I'm saying, but what I've seen is that you've been able to explore yourself while at the meantime use this as a tool. And I like that.
yeah,
I like that.
but my, those are true. But the key is that I don't always look good.
Yeah.
That's
right.
the key.
Yeah,
the key
right.
is that I struggle and I fight with my wife, and she gets mad at me, and I'm showing all that. I'm actually, to be honest with you, the bad stuff actually kind of blows up.
Yeah.
So I almost have to be careful to like, I was having a problem with
Not instigating it.
Pain loves misery.
but no. So now I'm looking at it like this. Okay, now you have to be honest,
Yeah.
right? So I started
Took away.
experiencing.
It's almost like you used it as a tool to take away excuses. You know, like because you're seeing it, right? Like there's no, you can't say I didn't say that. It's like you fucking said that.
Yeah, but the point of it is that we're all imperfect.
Yes.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Yes.
Look at
but
me.
but you can't use it as an excuse to continue to be a douchebag.
No, I'm working
Yeah,
on it.
exactly.
I'm trying to be better.
And that's what I was saying.
I'm getting better.
Yeah.
However, I fuck up.
See, this is what I've known you for 6 years, right? And this is what I've said. I will say that I have seen I've seen changes of you over the years.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful progress because
Yeah.
you, like I love in the 12 and 12, you're not ever going to be perfect.
No.
But we're going to strive for that.
Yeah, but I think exposing the imperfections and the flaws are what help other people not
Yes.
feel so bad about their shit.
Yeah, being okay with your own imperfections and flaws and letting
just-
that be seen. It's like,
Yeah,
hey man,
letting
like,
it be seen.
it's okay.
And that's where it kind of comes to the like, so many people, they don't want to be seen because they don't know how they're going to be perceived.
Judged.
And also too,
But
like
that's like,
look at the fear of like, for me, like on my social media, like why I've laid off on a lot of the things that I used to do is because I'm like, well, you know, I have this great opportunity with this big company and I'm growing with them and it's getting bigger. And I'm like, that's important to me. And I'm going, you know, with it out there, it's like, I could put the wrong thing out there or say the wrong word and fucking have people all over me. And I'm like, and it sucks that it's that way too.
it is. So that's another thing
Yeah.
I'm trying to, like, I'm just trying to help push the ball as much as I can in the direction of like, we need to stop with the cancel culture.
Yeah, it's brutal.
We got to stop.
Start embracing it.
Yeah,
Start
so
embracing
that's
the
what we're doing.
imperfection.
So me and my wife are like, yo, we fight. This is what the fight looked like. I said this. I shouldn't have said that. Look, I said the wrong thing. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't like, and that's what I love about Joe. Like,
Don't say it
Joe Rogan will actually be like, yeah, like that whole Y2K thing. Like, I was fucking wrong. This was before you started following him, but he like was obsessed
I know.
with the
9/11,
world ending,
the moon
on the year 2000. He thought the world was ending on 2000, and he was a conspiracy guy. I mean, so he's grown. So is Kanye. These are people that are growing and evolving in front of the world.
Yes.
And the internet it's evolving into, it's been 20 years, but that's not a lot of time, really, if you think about it.
No, it's not.
The golden age of cinema was probably 50 years into its birth.
Yeah.
So like we could be approaching the golden age of social media and the internet, which is like now we're actually using it as like a real, raw, honest way of communicating with each other. And that's kind of where I'm
I actually
trying to be at the forefront of that.
No, and I think 2009 was the Wild West heyday of fucking internet. Now it's just fucked. That's why I say like the too many regulations, cancel culture.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, but it also granted that, to be someone that can be under, I guess, not so harsh on it is this is a new technology that's only been around for 20 years that everyone is getting used to that isn't going anywhere. So I think this is the beginning stages of this new technology being played out in our world. So it's extremely, it's a very like this,
very powerful.
This technology is extremely smart and powerful.
It gives
bigger
people,
than me.
Yeah, it gives people
and the thing that's so incredible about an algorithm is, even more like TikTok. You can't post photos on TikTok. It has to be a video.
Okay.
So you can't. It's harder to fake it. It's
I
harder.
love that. You actually
It's
see
harder
what
to
someone
pretend.
looks like.
And that's why so many people aren't even posting anything. They're just following. I have so many people following me. They have
no content whatsoever.
all they're on there for is to consume other people's content.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of girls that are just dressing up and they're caught. They're lip syncing other people's words.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird, but it's just weird to see evolve into everything is just becoming a little bit more honest, a little bit more transparent. And now with this new platform, TikTok, you're seeing just an overwhelming.
It's really forcing the world to
It's
see
so
one another.
refreshing. Like you see somebody living in the country and you see the wrinkles on their face and you just see
It's
who
like
they
real.
are and you're like, thank God.
What about that guy, My Self-Reliance, out of Canada, who built an entire fucking log cabin on his own? He's been living off the grid and like,
heard something
shows you the whole experience. And he has like 1 million followers on YouTube. And I'm like, fucking crazy. This guy's building everything, just living off the grid, making a living off his My Self-Reliance, dude.
I never heard of it.
Awesome.
That's like
he just lives off the land, hunts, fishes.
Yeah, and
that's
built
it.
his own cabin, built his own sauna, built his own like outdoor, beautiful fucking property.
Wow.
And he's getting paid off his YouTube channel to support that. He's taking
beautiful,
full
man.
advantage of the technology to live his dream. That's why I say like you're literally like I this is why I do admire you when your shirt's down is that like you're living your dream.
trying to, yeah.
But
you know what's
trying is
funny?
lying.
But
You are, and I do believe you are, and I think that like this is a wonderful thing. But like, I really I admire you for it. That
Thank
you're out
you.
there doing it, and it's your way of doing it. And
Well,
like,
I mean-
it's if you have an opinion on how I believe Pat should do it, then you should just do it instead of telling Pat your opinion. Like I'm not going to come over to your house and be like, Pat, that's how you should be doing your shit. It's like, here's my opinion, take it or leave it. But if I think it should be done this way so bad, then I should just go do it. Just shut it.
The weird thing about living your dream is it changes.
It becomes a reality.
Well, the hypercrush thing I thought was the dream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
It
saying?
evolved from there, though. That hypercrush thing brought you here.
Yeah, because that wasn't. I mean, okay, that sounds cool, but what does that really look like?
Are you coming back? Billy, where are you going? Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's all good. I thought you were fading, so I was like, oh man, is he going to crash? I like Billy.
Yeah.
But yes,
then
sorry. I cut.
You don't know what you want. God helps you.
Yeah, like I love that with sobriety. Another thing where like we talk about our plans are so like minor to like the plans that God has for us. Like we have these like peasant little plans, and then it's nothing to the plan that God has for us.
know.
This is
Exactly.
like
I love that. It's like, oh, I got this little peasant plan.
Yeah, because it's
and
like,
then it's
oh,
like God's
cool.
like, yeah, cool.
God just comes
but he
in.
Just blows
it's
you
like
up.
Comes in with his hand and
Yeah.
says, nope.
Yeah,
And
or
he
just
takes
goes,
it.
this is what that is,
it's just completely in the red.
Dog, I'm sitting right here talking.
But you were just cupping it. Like you were going like this.
No,
like,
I was grabbing it here.
Okay. No, but check this
seriously?
out. I agree with you, but this is I'm going to break it down in a specific way. Okay, so I'm a kid. I have this dream. I want to be a rock star. Okay, be on stage, fucking get dick sucked, fucking sign autographs, right?
Dick sucks.
Here I'm on an airplane.
Yeah.
I'm on an airplane.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm at an airport.
Yeah.
Cool. We're getting paid $10,000 to do the show.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm at the airport.
Yeah.
And I'm on the airplane.
Yeah.
Then I land. I'm tired. My eyes are red.
Mm-hmm.
Some guy I don't know picks me up. We go to the fucking hotel. Now I'm in a hotel room alone.
Yeah.
I wake up. I drive to a venue. I don't know anyone at the venue. I'm sitting around at a venue waiting to do a sound check.
Yeah.
I do the show. It's an hour long. I meet some fans afterwards. Back in the hotel room alone. That's the dream. That's what you wanted. No, that's not what I wanted. I just kind of thought it was going to be some epic thing, but it's not.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, whoa. And you're not really helping anyone. Let's be honest. Like,
I mean, music's a powerful thing.
yeah, but not the music we were making.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Not necessarily. There's a lot of people who are influenced by
Definitely
your
not.
music.
For sure. Yeah. No, it was
To
cool.
a degree.
No,
To a
it was
degree.
it was great.
You're seeking for something higher now than
But
at
now,
that time.
no, but like now,
Yeah.
I get to hang out with my friends all the time.
Yeah. This is. Yeah.
I'm only speaking my truth and my experience. And there are so many people that are like, the messages that they send me are so humbling. I'm like, dude, trust me. Like, I don't know what I'm talking. All I'm doing is, but
Putting
it's
myself
just like,
out there.
the thing about it is like, it's just like, you don't expect this person that you're looking at to, you don't expect the things that come out of my mouth to come out of my mouth. So it's like this weird thing of them seeing it and going, oh, wait.
What?
Oh, sober, good.
Yeah.
And then they're like, wow, like maybe, yeah. It's like different when it comes out of my mouth than when it comes out of like Jordan Peterson's mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like a 13-year-old kid in Kansas isn't really trying to hear Jordan. You know what I mean? But or even Gary Vee or maybe not even Russell Brand, you know, because the way Russell talks isn't, I have this broken way of talk. So it's funny how like you don't really need to be an expert to touch people, you know? So it's exciting.
And I think it, like, that's why I say, like, you don't need to be an expert to be vulnerable. You just need to be strong.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I think that's kind of what I've always could sum up what you're doing is that you've built up this courage over the years to continue to be more and more vulnerable and keep doing it.
If I talk to
So what is the project that you're doing? Did you tell us? Can you tell us?
No, I'm going to keep that quiet.
Okay,
Yeah.
but this will last.
Fuck, who knows? Might not ever get done.
So you don't.
Or
So you're
started.
going to be pretty busy for a while, probably.
If this continues to go, it's definitely the project that I'm at the very, very beginning stages of getting into. If it continues to grow, it's something that right now I'm highly passionate about. Yeah.
Or do you think that there's something in?
I do whatever's in front of me that I feel is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Do
you think that there's like when you talk about something, you take the power out of it?
No. I'm not.
You just don't want to like talk about it because it's not like.
It's not there yet.
Yeah.
You know, and it's and then in the people and the person that I'm working with, that hasn't all been clarified. You know, like I want to respect people and stuff too. You know.
Yeah, you're dope like that.
Yeah.
But,
so
but
it's not like, oh, some secret project. It's just, hey,
Yeah.
I'm just not quite there yet. When I get there, you'll be the first to know. I love sharing what I'm working on with everyone in you.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is because I just think that, I'm excited to do stuff with you.
Yeah, man. I like
actually,
that's why I like this platform that you've created. You put all this blood. Like, I'm grateful for the fact that I get to just roll into your fucking house and there's this fucking platform.
Yeah,
look at these fucking microphones, fucking brand new laptop, like people putting it up, like and I just fucking roll in from fucking Studio City, just be like, all right, let's be a guest and talk about shit that I've been working on. Like I'm fucking lucky. You know?
That's all cool, but for me, the coolest thing is that people are actually going to hear.
Yeah, exactly. That's that's why I make things. I really want people to watch it. If I was the only one on planet Earth, I wouldn't fucking make a movie.
It's so weird. I had this argument with Noah, this guy I work with, because he's, Noah?
I know Noah, yeah.
He's amazing.
Yeah, we talked about the server. By the way, my server's killing it. But anyways,
yeah, okay, but Noah's like getting into Cinema 4D and like this fool's crushing. Yeah. But I think he still has an interesting relationship with like why he's making art, because he's like, I just want to make it because I like to make it. I don't care if anyone ever sees it. And I'm like, well,
yeah, I got to say, for me, I at least want one person to see it.
I mean,
yeah,
obviously, but so what I'm excited about is like we should do a short, or even just like a scene, really well lit, like good audio, like you could be in it. I don't know. I would like to do something and post it on the YouTube and Instagram and TikTok, like see how many people can see it.
Yeah.
I don't know, just for fun.
Yeah.
One day. I don't know if you ever have any ideas or.
You can. I'll send you. If you just want to do a test, I'll send you. I know you weren't the biggest fan of the skit that I made that we were talking about earlier, but I'll send it to you and post it and see what people say.
What is it?
The one I shot when I was like 60 days sober with Mike, and get paid, and it was all weird.
Actually, yeah. Let me get, because I'm about to post a couple shorts that I made, and I'd love to
throw it in the mix. I want to see if people, because it's about being sober.
Let's do that,
right? And just see if anyone.
I'm not in it, am I?
No, you're. I don't think. Are you? No, you're not. It's just me and Mike.
Wait, yeah. I think I'm.
Yeah, it's just me and Mike, the only two in it. I just shot it all at your house and with your gear, and I just made it up on the spot.
Yeah, that'd be rad.
I'll send it to you. I'll send you the Vimeo link so you can just download it.
Yeah.
But I'd just be curious with your platform if people would actually then watch it and think it's funny or not.
Yeah, and I'll credit you and tag.
No, I don't care about that shit. Yeah. It's do your thing, like I'm not a big on that kind of stuff. But for me, like I really do. Really do make things because it's like all about people seeing it and seeing how it affects them.
Yeah, I mean that's I think why any artist makes anything, and if they're
is this not able to, how the podcast just ends, people just dwindle out. I could fucking do this all night with you.
Yeah, right.
I know.
It's so
I could just go to the next subject, and
it's actually it's really not even that late. Well, have you been watching any movies or? Have you seen Raised by Wolves?
No, I've been telling him I was only thing I've been binging is fucking Jersey Shore and Alone.
Alone is really cool, huh?
Alone's fucking crazy.
It's like amazing.
It's what I think is interesting about it is how they did the show. So the people get dropped off in the middle of nowhere and they have to film themselves. And I'm like, that's cool.
How?
They just fucking get trained. They're like, if you want to be on the show, we're going to throw you through a training of how to use our cameras and how to shoot your shit. They have to mic themselves and shoot it, and then they have to live. So the footage is like super shitty, and it's like, but that's what makes it beautiful. It's just like the internet, people just filming themselves. That's what I like. I thought the genius of the producers who made Alone. That's why I'm like, you guys are fucking killer. No, there's not. 100%. Well, from what they're saying, I mean, it could be wrong, but they put one camera that they strap to the tree that's like a surveillance camera, but the rest of it is they have to film themselves. They get dropped off with like I think a camera and a GoPro and a bunch of fucking SD cards.
Well, it was the same kind of thing, but then there was like a couple guys out.
In the show,
are you talking or are you just? No one can hear what you're saying.
Also Alone.
I mean,
it's interesting because it's psychological. Like
yes.
some people
yes.
are still doing okay, but they just can't be alone.
And all
their
demons come up.
Yeah,
like that's why I love camping.
So weird.
Yeah, because I grew up in like the woods, right?
Yeah.
Like in Fort Francis. So I love camping and going to those. Like every time I camp or go hunt or fish or go off in the wilderness with a loved one, with Chelsea or myself, like I have a spiritual experience every time. I love it.
Yeah, me
and
too.
Alone's great because it fucking brings that to their service. Everyone always goes like, man, maybe I should be a better father or mother, or like I'm thinking of this or thinking of that. All their demons come up, and I'm like, nature, man. There's nothing fucking tougher than that.
Yeah, true. Or like more like peaceful. It's all the ends of
What's
the
really cool in season 1 is there's this one guy who's like, I think he's like 27, and he's killing it. He made a boat, built like a fucking kick-ass shelter, little set, has all this shit built, and he's built, and he just finally goes, and he could have won. And he just finally realized he's like, the whole time he's like, you can tell he's having a spiritual experience and searching for something deeper in his life, and that's why he went. And he just like says, I've reached I've reached it. I'm done. I have nothing more to prove, because they all come. He had to question himself, and most of them do. Is like, why am I doing this? Is this about the money, or am I searching for something deeper? And he was just like, yeah, this doesn't have anything to do with the money. I could keep living out here, but you know, I miss. I think it was like he missed his mom or like some family, and he was just like, I've achieved what I needed to achieve here, and he just went back home. And I'm like, that's fucking way more powerful than winning $500,000. Like, fucking killer, you know? He just like, he was killing it. He just like was like, I'm done. Wow. A lot of guys do that. One guy was just like, it's really, you know, intense. The one guy's just like, I just miss my wife. I love her so much. I miss her, and it's just, it's time to go back and see her. Wow. And it's like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, and then there's the guys who are like one guy's like, no, I'm going to stay because like, I think I could help my family with this money, so I'm going to do it. And he does it.
They're talking to,
yeah.
You know what else is cool is you see how badass some of these chicks are out there.
Oh, some of the women are like, I'm like, damn.
I was like,
is that one chick catching all those salmon and shit?
Yeah.
Huge ass salmon, just pulling them out of the fucking Pacific Ocean.
What are you doing?
I'm making food. I'm feeding, bro.
What are you making?
Just some cereal. That's all I have.
Uh-huh.
All my food.
Are you sleeping at the new house?
I don't know.
Wow. Do you even understand what
he shared with
happened
me?
To him?
He shared with me a bit outside. Yeah.
This
it's
fucking
tough
bitch
spot.
came in here on one, bro.
Oh no.
I mean, bro, we're talking like there's just a lot of untreated people. I would be more worried about those people ruining the name because they're like important people in AA that are just so sick. Yeah. Big Frank throwing the book across the room.
That was classic.
Actually, I'm trying to get him on.
Get him on, man.
And great. Jonathan Shaw, Big Paul's kind of, you know, Paul, he's friends with some of these people. So
I like Paul. I relate to him because he comes from that old school, and I like that dope. He's very hard to the fact, and that's what worked for me, and I like that. So I relate to Paul, and I was talking to him after. I'm like, yeah, bro, when you busted out that fucking shit in the 12 and 12 about self-pity, I was like, yep. Like that's
he's come down a lot too. Remember how like wild he used to be? Remember one time he's like, because you got 4 minutes to share or whatever, and he went over. He's like, no, I'm up here. I'm going to share as long as I want.
Remember when I was the timer and Big Frank yelled at me for fucking calling the time? That was amazing. And then I tried to talk to him after, and he goes, "You the timing guy?" And then I go, "Yeah." And he goes, Pfft. Yeah, I don't know what he said to me, but he just drove off.
Oh my!
And Paul laughed, and I was like, "Oh, that's classic."
That's funny.
Yeah, he was pissed that I was kept doing the thing, but I was like, "I don't know. That's the meeting. That's what they're asking for."
You need to get John Shaw on this. He's got a fucking real story, a really good story.
Paul's gonna get him on.
Have Paul and him do it together. That'd be great.
I was like talking to Shaw for a while.
So hold on, we actually have to stop. Because it's been 2 hours, 12 minutes, and if it goes past like 2.5 hours,
YouTube, iTunes is like, okay,
I can't upload it. Yeah, I have to like compress it.
Like you're too self-absorbed. 2 hours.
It doesn't sound. It just doesn't sound as good.
No, of course, yeah. It's a long.
I don't know how Joe uploads these 5-hour ones, but I think
he does them in parts though.
No,
he's Joe Rogan.
Dude, hold on a second, Billy. This last one with Duncan Trussell's it's so amazing. That guy Duncan is so smart. Yeah. They are both. They start talking about Bohemian Grove.
Oh, nice! I love conspiracies.
5 hours.
Oh, I gotta listen.
It's a 5-hour podcast.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's like I'm not. They're just starting to get drunk. I'm like 2 hours in, and they're like just starting to get drunk.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay. So
how good is the name Duncan?
Trussell's.
Yeah, like that's a classic name right there. You're like, hi, I'm Duncan Trussell's. You're like, oh, what do you got to say?
Did you know he has a show?
No, I don't know. I've never even heard of this guy.
Oh,
you just said Duncan Trussell's, and I was like, that's an amazing
He's
name.
just a chill guy, but yeah, he does his own podcast, and
oh wow,
this animator.
He's a psychonaut, and he's way into like
the conspiracy
door and all the.
Nice.
So Netflix gave him a show where his podcasts are being animated.
Oh, that's sick.
I think you'd really like it.
I've always wanted to do an animated series. I'm actually
really
writing one right now with a friend called MK Ultra, the mind control movie.
Whoa.
It's about Skinny, Squeak, and Bunny, and how they fucking they go on this journey of an adventure to save their buddy Tighe, who is a fucking commercial actor superstar who's under mind control to manipulate the population to put in this thing called like the sleep surfer or something that will download their minds to a hyper fucking thing and control the planet and put them all under mind control, and they have to break them out. It's like an adventure movie,
like Pinky and the Brain.
Yeah, exactly,
Do you
that type of
remember
shit. Yeah, Ren and Stimpy, like it's all influenced by that, you know.
Hey, do you remember when we were in here talking about that little short movie?
Yeah, that about the guy who has imaginary characters that want to that all turn on him and want to kill him.
Yeah.
So he's actually plotting to kill himself.
What if we like make that one?
I really want to make that. I was actually writing on it.
But like that's the cool thing is like we can do.
I know we could do that.
Like one day, I know that I will definitely one day have all the goal for me is to get to a place where I can like actually make these things.
You have all the gear.
Well, I already have the gear, but I'm saying like once I hit like 1 million on all the platforms, everything changes.
But don't you think it would be more work to maintain that then? Wouldn't you have to take away from that to then go on and do that? Or would you be cool with that, you think? I don't know. It's projecting in the future.
What do you mean?
Well, like it takes so much of your effort and time to get to like the 1 million.
And but once you get there, you just have money coming in, merch.
Oh, I see. You're
monetization.
Got you. I see what you're saying. You'd have the finances to do what you want to do.
Now
I hear what you're saying.
Okay, let's go make that.
Yeah, you could actually go into Netflix and be like, "Hey, I want to do a movie. Here's what it is." Or
not even that.
Just have your own cash.
It's fucking, bro. Alex, how much money are the top YouTubers and TikTokers making a year? There's millions. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's millions.
Right.
So
you just do your own thing and put it on your own platform and be like, there you go.
Roy, I got 50 grand.
Let's do it.
Are you down to make the cabin thing? I'll just give you 20 grand.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
You want to go make it?
Yeah. No, that's the
No, like right now, like would you do that for 20?
Yeah.
20 grand. Yeah. You just want me to direct?
Yeah.
For 20 grand?
Yeah. Like actually put together a proper budget.
Do what you need to do. Here's 20 grand. Do it.
Yeah.
So it's just like.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's all of this is a means to the end game, which is like. But then not only that, but we're like, it's just a whole crazy vision, and it's like it starts with building the platform because like.
But man, you're doing it. I'll tell you that much right now. I mean, like it's amazing.
Yeah, I don't want to need suits.
No,
I don't want to
need anything. Is like, brutal. I hate the word need. I need that. It's like I desire. That's it.
Like I love what you said. Like I don't want to go meet with these people anymore. Like I can't do the pitch again.
I'm not.
That's like where I'm like I'm there, bro. Like the music, what I went through in the music industry showed me that. Like I'm just so sick of doing that. When you're the one doing all the work anyways. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like that's how it's just getting the get up and do it. Your attitude's great. Like that's why I say like it's one thing with the camera recording still? The one thing I enjoy about the documentary is that like I made it with no one saying I was allowed to or gave me money. And Westbury. Yeah, I just made it, you know, and I'm like, that's it. Like I didn't need money. Like I always say to people, be like, oh, you should talk to Telefilm or get this money. I'm like, all that effort that I'd put into trying to find the money to shoot what I want to shoot tomorrow, I wouldn't be shooting what I'm shooting tomorrow. Yeah. So I'm just going to shoot what I need to shoot tomorrow. I mean, honestly, I think one of the main things I really would be excited to one of the main reasons I would be excited to shoot with you, because I feel like I've been trying to make something that like looks right, sounds right, feels right. Mm-hmm. Like when you watch it, it's like, oh, that looks like a movie. Yeah, it's got that. Like, have you made something like your Alcatel shit looks pretty fucking good. Thank you. It's actually on Times Square right now. See that shit? Wow, I didn't. We have an ad on Times Square. But like, so if we were to, let's just say we were to get together one day and make a short, we have all day. Yeah. Would you'd want your DP? Well, not necessarily. I mean, it just depends. Like I think it always comes down to the idea. I'm a guy who says story is king. Yes, but like, of course. Yes, but I want it to look right. So would Troy work? I mean, we could explore. Could you work with him? Of course I could work with him, but we would get what Troy can give us. Right. And that's not a knock towards Troy. Maybe he'd give us gold. I don't know. But I'm saying like, obviously like when I work with Boyd, like, he's been a fucking DP for the past 15 years. He's exceptionally talented. Like, you know what I mean? So clearly he would make it look and feel a certain way that we would be like, great. And he'd know how to achieve it.
Oh, Gus, see you later, brother. It's good seeing you.
Yeah, let's.
So
do
that's
that.
what I'm saying.
How
like,
much money would you and
if I
Boyd
was a high, well,
to
like,
make a little short?
well, I think Boyd would definitely be flexible on his
Because I just want to
rates.
make something.
Yeah, I hear you, and he would probably be flexible on his rates depending on the project, and all that kind of stuff. So
Let's try to
it's
figure
open to
something
it.
out.
Yeah,
I want to
getting
try
an
to do
idea.
something that you and him are excited about.
Yeah,
So that obviously I don't have to spend a whole bunch of money.
yeah, yeah. We'll see.
And
where it goes.
I want to put it on the Ridge.
That,
YouTube.
and that's why I say, like, I agree with you. And that was the biggest detriment to the documentary was that, like, if I would have had a ton of money to shoot it and direct, I think that people would pay it much more respect, and it would be for free on Netflix right now. But it's not. It was just produced by me out all these years of I'm developing as a filmer. So it doesn't look like a film. But I swear to God, when you watch it, and if you sit down and watch it, it plays like a real feature. Like it's got rhythm, pace, flow. It plays like a real feature film. You can sit down and watch and be like, that was a movie.
When you say that, when you say a real feature film, do you mean like
The feel. Like
it's
you said,
not like a documentary? It feels like a movie.
well, it's like it feels,
real documentary.
It feels like a real documentary that
Right.
you would actually go buy.
Yeah.
You know, it's not just like, hey, I made this with my friends and like my friends can watch it. Like
Yeah.
I'm fully confident that
Yeah.
Rando X on the street
The only
would
thing
be
it's-
like, yo, there it is.
The only thing it's missing are
production value.
lights, lenses.
Yeah. Shot
And
on a
the-
fucking
and the
Sony
art.
HDV.
which actually works for like
For
20% of it.
Yeah.
As long as you have all the other stuff that's
Yeah.
like high level.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Did you
It's
see The
shot
Last
on-
Dance?
Yes, I loved it.
Wow.
I really wish they would have done the interviews different, but I loved it.
Yeah, they were all blown out.
Well, that the interviews, see, like this is what I discovered in myself in making my doc is that people kept calling out saying, I love how you did the interviews with Richard. You didn't sit down and be like, let's do an interview. Like you caught everything in the moment. And like, I think, imagine what it would be like if you were just hanging out with Michael Jordan and just filming him as he did his day.
Yeah.
Rather than him sit in a chair, tell you.
Yeah.
That would be rad.
The cool thing about that documentary is all the footage is amazing.
Yeah, it's obviously,
But even like the
amazing
old shit,
documentary.
because they shot that old basketball shit like on like film cameras, and it's like there's
some of the HDV shit. Some of it was HDV and shit,
right.
right? And
I don't know, but it
the little
all
film
looked
cameras.
really good.
Yeah, it was great. They did a great job. Obviously it's an amazing documentary of Michael Jordan. It has to be the best.
Yeah,
Like you imagine the pressure of the director. You're like, what's the excuse here? Shoot this on your T3i.
well, yeah, but also you can tell that Michael like
I would love to do that with someone like Michael though. I'd love to go in and rock his world with some ghetto ass shit like that. I'd just be like, no, we're doing this. What are you doing today? Okay, I'm going to follow you with my camera. What camera? Whatever camera I bring, don't worry about it. Just go.
Yeah.
And just fucking pound questions.
wow.
Like it was punishing with Richard. Just punished. Right. So
Yeah, I
that's
can't
that's
wait
why I
to
say like, yeah. I mean, it's I if you do watch it, I that would be great. I'd love to talk with you about it. And if you do watch it, try and watch it in one sitting. I know that's not
No, I'm
your
going
thing.
to.
And you might just watch the craftsmanship, because I can talk with you about the craftsmanship, even if you don't like it. Even if you're like, yeah, Roy, I thought it was kind of whack, but at least we could then discuss the craftsmanship of the filmmaking.
Oh, I'm like 100% going to.
I should sell everyone like that.
Did you show him episode 2?
No, I can show him whatever.
still
but
recording?
We're
should
gonna
wrap it up, eh?
Well, let me just say, come anytime you want.
Thank you.
On Mondays, I actually can't wait to have you on again.
Okay, thank you.
Just
Yeah,
because
I'd love to be here
there's
again.
so much more we can talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thank you, brother.